Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 5 of the British Drift Championship 2018, the final chapter of our story so far for our Pro-Am Championship. My name is Ian Waddington, and as always, I'm joined by Eddie Power. Eddie Power, we just witnessed an unbelievably heated qualifying session. That is done and dusted. That's in the history books. We are ready to kick off our top 32 pro competition in a magnificent way.
Yeah, look, the last battles of the season for these Pro-Am guys and the last drifting competition that we will ever see here in Rockingham Motor Speedway. And you know what? The crowd have started to filter through the gates, and we are ready to go with the first battles of the day. And a man with all the attention on him at the moment, Ryan Caldwell, topped qualifying with a monstrous 94-point run. He's coming up against Davidus Pestrauskas, and Davidus now really with a challenge on his hands here. Looks as though these guys are lined up and ready to go. Of course, if you're new to drifting, we will be explaining just how these battles work. Lead driver needs to replicate what they were doing in qualifying. Chase driver needs to just mirror the lead driver's line and get as close as possible to him. Right now, Davidus Pestrauskas not able to handle the pace of Ryan Caldwell, who just throws caution to the wind, foot to floor. But now Davidus tries to bring the fight, looks for that gap as he does everything in his power to go in the door, that S15 in the Quinn Motorsport car of Ryan Caldwell, but Caldwell cool, calm and collected out in that lead positioning.
Very, very good job there from our lead car. Put on you know, listen, Ryan Caldwell qualified first, put on an absolutely perfect lead run. Davidus struggled to twin with him, lacked a little bit of proximity, not a clean chase. How's he going to fare in the lead position? We're about to find out. They're swapped around and back on the line, ready to go. So it will be Davidus Pestrauskas to lead out Ryan Caldwell. And Ryan Caldwell, as Eddie mentioned, being our first place qualifier. No messing about for Caldwell, though. Look at that, hot on the back bumper of Davidus.
Yeah, and he's hungry for a win here. It's the one thing that's escaped him this season so far, is a win on British soil. And the last opportunity for silverware for these guys for quite some months, as we conclude all competitive drifting this side of Europe. And Caldwell doing a good job. However, didn't have insane proximity at any point, but I think just carrying that little bit more than Davidus was able to manage.
Exactly that. So the guys stopped at the finish line. We await for the scores to drop in from our judges. Obviously, our judges today being Kieran Hines, David Egan and Ryan Pothecary. Slide them left for Davidus, slide them right for Ryan, who is going to take it through to the top 16 to be our first contender. Kieran, David and Ryan make it unanimous. So Ryan Caldwell, ladies and gentlemen, gets the win. Quick explanation from our judges. David.
Pro-Am here at the BDC final round. To be honest with you, Pestrauskas does a good job on both runs. He just cuts the track a little bit. Caldwell's lead run very strong, but Caldwell over the 2 runs, an excellent lead run, excellent chase run. Pestrauskas very good, but just not good enough.
So there you have it from the judges. Petrauskas doing a good job, but just couldn't take down the titan that is Ryan Caldwell. Me moving on to a very interesting tie between 2 drivers qualifying mid-pack 16th and 17th respectively. It is Stephen Fitzgerald to take on Paul Beachy. Very similar horsepowers, very similar cars, but 2 completely different drivers behind the wheel. Yeah,
one thing to note, Eddie, these guys have never seen head-to-head competition in top 32, and yet we are yet to see anything from these guys in our Pro-Am competition. So an interesting battle about to unfold as Stephen Fitzgerald leads in Paul Beachy, as Paul Beachy gets a little bit of understeer.
Yeah, Beachy washes it wide and loses quite a sizable amount of ground on Fitzgerald. You see in the back of the screen as we move to a wide shot there that Beachy just struggling to keep that car on angle, making some errors. Fitzgerald, though, in the lead position, Ian, you have to say, doing a really strong job. Just missing a couple of clipping zones, but nonetheless, you got to say advantage with Fitzgerald after the first half of that one.
I totally agree, Eddie. Advantage with Fitzgerald. Like you say, missed a couple of clipping points, but for me, the understeer through that second outer zone after the initiation, the little bit of understeer from Beachy pushed him way offline, lost a lot of ground. He had to work really hard to try and gain it back, which he didn't really do. But nevertheless, they make their way back to the line where Beachy will now sit in that lead position. Fitzgerald sits in the chase position. Both these cars got a mere 500 horsepower under the bonnet, so equally matched power for power and pound for pound. Some of the best cars on the grid. But what have the drivers got as they come away from the line? Beachy needs to make it all happen now. Big straight line initiation from Beachy as he gets in again, a little bit of understeer.
Yeah, Fitzgerald getting a little bit caught behind him though, Ian, as I think maybe caught off the hop by the tentative entry or nature of that entry from Beachy. Now Beachy starts to pull the gap as he puts foot to the floor, and you can just see that steady trail of smoke from the rear of his car. Little correction as he throws it towards the wall. Fitzgerald needs to try and find some proximity here as he makes the dive onto the door, but he's way offline, and I'm not so sure about this one, Ian. This one could go either way.
It sure could, Eddie. Scrappy chase and a scrappy lead from both these guys. Judges got a task and a half on their hands today as we get this top 32 underway. Judges are putting scores down, so they must know which way this is going to go. As we await for it to
me, I think Fitzgerald did a good job in that lead position. Scores coming in though. Kieran, David and Ryan. Slide him left for Beachy, right for Fitzgerald. 1 vote for Stephen Fitzgerald. David makes it 2. Ryan makes it unanimous. Stephen Fitzgerald going through to the top 16. We go back quickly to the judges. A little bit of a scrappy affair over the 2 runs.
Yeah, it was errors from both there over both runs. As Stephen in lead position, a reasonably good run, but he was off clip 4 and clip 8, so it wasn't the best. But Paul makes big error at clip 2. And is trying to catch up from there on, and he does cut the track massively between 5 and 6 to get proximity. So Stephen has a big advantage after the first one. And the second one, Paul takes the advantage in the second one. It was an okay lead run, but Stephen just didn't have proximity. But you know, Paul's error in the first one was much larger than the gap that was there for the second one. So over both runs, Stephen takes it.
There we go, and moving it on, Eddie. Yeah,
we turn our attentions back to the start line where Oliver Bolton will take on John O'Hare. Now, I find this one to be a fascinating battle. We have Oliver Bolton qualifying up the order in 8th position. John O'Hare down the order in 25th, but we've talked about John O'Hare already today, Ian, and he is capable of producing some absolute magic. Can he do it here against an on-form Oliver Bolton in the Funk Motorsport 180SX? Bolton, nice through that first section. John O'Hare now looks to make that transition onto the door as they throw it towards the wall. Sheer aggression here from John O'Hare, but he has to back off a little bit, and it costs him a little bit of ground. As once again he makes the dive, but slides just ever so slightly away from Bolton. Certainly showing real signs of aggression, but can't seem to maintain steady a steady gap throughout the circuit. Certainly gave himself a chance with that one, but a good lead run from Bolton.
Very, very good lead run there from Bolton. Exactly mirrored what he done in qualifying and tried to put down that 100-point qualifying run for me. John O'Hare didn't do a bad job, just lacked that little bit of proximity. Made a few attacks, put himself in a bit of a situation sometimes where he had to correct the steering. Let's see how it goes the other way when Bolton now chases down John O'Hare. Can John O'Hare keep his cool, put down the qualifying lead run of his life?
Yeah, well, look, it's going to have to be a big one. Bolton did a good job, and he did have those couple of errors in the chase position. Right now, looking good out front. Can he take it out to the wall? Ooh, just...
Oh, straight in there.
Yeah, it looked like he was carrying a lot of pace in, and then all of a sudden, a little bit of a waver, and has to straighten the car.
Yeah.
And
yeah, a few errors emerging from John O'Hare. And look at this, Oliver Bolton, not on the door, but good proximity nonetheless, makes the last dive onto the door. There's Oliver Bolton and pushes both the guys across the line.
I think the difference here for me, Ian, is that Bolton, while he doesn't have that proximity, isn't making the same mistakes in the chase position.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, yeah, like you say, the lead to lead, chase to chase, Bolton's lead was clean, John O'Hare's was very scrappy, so. John O'Hare just struggling to park his car. Score comes in, slide him left for John O'Hare, right for Oliver Bolton. Who's going to take it through? Will it be Westlake or will it be Funk Motorsport? Kieran says Oliver, David says Oliver, Ryan says Oliver. Oliver Bolton gets the win, unanimous. And we quickly throw it back to the judges for the breakdown on that one.
Yeah, that was another close battle, really. I had it even in the first run with Oliver's lead. It was a good lead. Jono, reasonable proximity, but it was a bit messy. And they switched around. Oliver's chase was cleaner, and Jono made a little mistake at clip 4. He stalled up a bit, and that kind of sealed the deal, just swinging the balance to Oliver.
There you go.
Yeah, Oliver Bolton moves along, and yeah, as we said, Ian, not a whole lot in that one. Kirsty Widrington, though, now coming up against Tomas Falvey. Again, another very interesting battle. Kirsty having a really strong qualifying this morning, 9th position for her. Falvey, though, down the order, and we look at Tomas Falvey. We have seen flashes of brilliance from him this year, but at the moment, struggling to recreate it here. Can he pull something out of the bag? Much wider line from Falvey as he gets nice and deep into those outer zones. Kirsty getting into the clipping zones, but maybe not the perfect line as she gets there. Now, just a little bit shadow off the water. Big straightening error from Tomas Falvey. But was he led astray by the line of Kirsty? That'll be something for the judges to look at. Not on the perfect line, but certainly appeared to be too far off that would cause such a problem for Falvey. Scrappy run.
Almost contact as they come across the finish line. Yeah, very, you know what, I'm going to say, not a bad lead run from Kirsty. She made a little bit of an error. She comes towards the wall where the judging tower is. She kind of backed out of it a little bit. I'm going to say that wasn't the cause of the straightening from Tomas Falvey. I think Tomas wanted to try and make a dive, maybe went for a downshift to try and get some lost ground up there. Couldn't make it. You can see he's in the background. The car stopped. Hopefully he will make his way to the line. We're dealing with a very, very on-form Kirsty Widrington. We see that from qualifying, 2 very close qualifying runs. But we've seen Tomas Falvey at his best when we come over to Ireland. That guy jumped on the podium. What a run, what a weekend.
Yeah, well, I think what's going to happen on this second run is that these two guys will know that it's this one's in the balance. They both know that they've made some errors. They won't know what the judges are thinking. I think the spotters will be in their ears saying, you need to go and just go out and win it on this second half. Now, Falvey, can he put in the run of his life? Can he put in a high scoring lead run here and just see using that smoke to his advantage, trying to blind Kirsty, and Kirsty makes a big error in the same place that Tomas made it on the first run. Could that level the playing fields? Could we see this go one more time? Kirsty dropping a couple of wheels though as she comes down towards the teardrop section, unable to find that proximity. Now Falvey doing exactly what he needs to do, in out in front, tagging the wall at the finish, losing that rear bumper, and he needed a big lead run, and that's certainly what he gave us.
He certainly did it. He put on the lead run of his life there, and as you mentioned, tagging the wall as he come across the line, just taking the rear bumper off. Kirsty, in fact, actually hitting that bumper as she finished off her run.
I think the question will be here is, will the judges see that as enough from Tomas Falvey to overturn the errors on the first run? His lead line certainly better than Kirsty's. Kirsty having a couple of those errors. We are about to find out. Slide him left for Falvey, white for Widrington. Kieran Hines says Tomas Falvey. David Egan says Tomas Falvey. Ryan makes it official. We got to go to the judges. Another scrappy battle, but Tomas Falvey getting the call from you.
Yeah, a tale of two halves of a battle there. In the first run, Falvey has multiple errors, but we can account some of that to the fact that Kirsty had a huge error coming towards clip 4. She completely backed off the throttle while Tomas was at full throttle, so there's nothing he could do but straighten up, kind of messed him up. So we kind of looked at it saying that Kirsty was better over the whole run except for one big error, and Tomas had multiple errors, so it balanced off as a 5-5 for us in the first run. So it's in Kirsty's hands as the chase car, and in that case she comes out swinging, but she makes a huge mistake as they come towards the second wall run. She backs out completely, understeers, and Falvey puts in a great lead run, enough to get him the win.
So there you have it, Tomas Falvey moving on to the top 16. One more battle in the books. We go back to the start line where Alistair Sutton gets ready to try and take down Tessa Whittock. Tessa, in that borrowed car here this weekend, has looked very comfortable, but Alistair Sutton, 4th position, and championship hopes still alive as well, Ian.
Certainly are, Eddie. As you mentioned, they come off the line. Alistair Sutton to lead in Tessa Whittock for a spot in top 16, and Whittock giving
a lot of space here. I'm wondering, very tentative entry, and I wonder, is there something up with the car? It just hasn't been the season that Tessa was hoping for. She's had a lot of mechanical problems and just hasn't got to showcase how capable she is behind the wheel. And you can see she's just backed out of this run altogether, driving the circuit. And Alistair Sutton, though, drifts off into the sunset.
Alistair Sutton finishes off the run, as you mentioned, Eddie, and Tessa Whittock pulls up to our start line. Marshall Melks, he will have a quick word with her and find out if she requires a 5-minute rule or if she's out of competition. So Tessa Witter calls a 5-minute rule. So Tessa Witter calls a 5-minute rule, which means we will move on with our next battle of the day. And this one, the smallest car on the grid versus the biggest car on the grid, Eddie. Dave Bastin, newly crowned British Drift Championship Pro-Am driver, to take on a veteran in the British Drift Championship, Alexis Drew. SR20, 350 horsepower, 1JZ 500 horsepower, R34 4-door, A86.
Yeah, I think what's going to be important here is if Dave Bastin in this lead position can just, you know, the horsepower won't play too much of a part in this in the first half of the battle, where he can try and just put in the lead run of his life and hope that Alexis Drew makes a few errors in the chase position.
So off the line, Bastin to lead out Drew as Dave Bastin fires that little SR20 power Toyota Corolla, and this guy's been an absolute devil in Drift Cup this year, putting on some spectacular lead and chase runs. But look at Alexis Drew, gets himself all up in the mix, finds himself in the middle of the circuit. Now he needs to get a balance. Look at Bastin as he hangs that Huxley Motorsport aluminium spoiler over the wall.
Yeah, possibly dropping a couple of wheels though, as he just using every last bit of tarmac here. And just at the end, and Dave Bastin looking so good, Ian, and all of a sudden it looks as though he may be at a 10-0 disadvantage going into the second half of this one. An error and an overtake.
And you know what? In practice earlier on, Dave Bastin's teammate Danny Wyman broke his gearbox in the second qualifying run. Did Dave Bastin just break his gearbox, or what has gone on? Was it an upshift potentially? Will he make his way back to the line? So we're just trying to find word out from our marshals.
Yeah, it looks as though he's turning that car around and getting himself ready. So a handbrake problem, I think we're hearing from the marshals, and you can just see the crew down there at the Driftworks pit area helping Tessa Whittock, and they're having a look at the rear end of that car and possibly some diff problems or some prop shaft problems.
So off the line, Alexis Drew now to lead out Dave Bastin. As Alexis Drew fires it in, Bastin all up in his business knows he's now sitting with a disadvantage. Can Bastin try and overturn this and try and force the win in his favour? Well, he's certainly going to go for it. But Alexis Drew isn't going to make that easy for him as he stands on the accelerator and unleashes 600 horsepower. Backs out ever so slightly though as he starts to get into the third from last outer zone.
Yeah, well, it's going to take a massive mistake here from Alexis Drew to hand the victory back in the favour of Dave Bastin, and I think all that Bastin could really have hoped for was a one more time at the end of that one. However, I do believe that the judges will settle this score, and I'd expect to see Alexis Drew progressing.
Well, scores drop in. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Slide them left for Alexis Drew, right for Dave Bastin, Kieran, David and Ryan. And it's unanimous. Alexis Drew gets the win, ladies and gentlemen. But give it up for Dave Bastin, newly crowned Pro and BDC driver. And we look forward to seeing that guy progress through the ranks in the coming years. We go back to our judges, Dave. Not as simple-ish, apart from Dave Bastin throwing it away. It looked very good, apart from that.
Apart from Dave Bastin scoring a 10-0, Ian.
Well, yeah,
I know it's your first day watching it, but yeah, the 0 on the first one.
Go easy, Dave. He's only learning, okay?
Yeah. 22 events in this year, Ian?
22,
yeah, well, obviously, if you drive across the finish line, up until that point, actually, he had a huge advantage in that run, so very unfortunate whatever happened. It seemed like a gear change issue or something.
Handbrake.
Yeah, maybe a handbrake issue, but yeah, and Alexis just doing enough on the second run to get him through, showing his experience there. That's
what I was trying to say, Dave, was that he was up there until then, but then you shot me down. It's fine.
That's what I'm here for, Ian.
Thanks, mate. Good to have you back.
He's like, oh, it's my last event. I can be rude, but
so
we're going back to the 5-minute rule of Alistair Sutton and Tessa Whittock, the second half of this battle, and we already know, Ian, that Alistair Sutton definitely carrying a 10-0 advantage, so a clean pass to the circuit for him, and he will be moving on to the top 16. Can Tessa force an error from that lead position? Only time will tell. They get the marshal's order. Malks lets them go side by side as they come down the straight. Have the Driftworks team managed to get this car back up and running? No. Tessa bails off circuit, and unfortunate end to the season for Tessa. It's been a difficult year so far, Ian.
It certainly has. She's not had the best year. And she takes that car off circuit. It's not easy driving a borrowed car, especially if it's having a few issues at the moment. And like we say, Tessa's usual car that we see her in, which is a borrowed car from Martin Richards, that car being shipped to South Africa. So unfortunately, Tessa out of her comfort zone at the moment. Pull those guys to the line to make it official, and going through to the top 16 will be Alistair Sutton. Yeah, Alistair Sutton gets the win.
Do you want to go back to the judges on this one?
No, there's no point.
Yeah.
It's just going to get all funny.
They get upset.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, pretty obvious one. And unfortunately, you know, Tessa having to bail off the circuit on 2 occasions, meaning Sutton progresses to the top 16. We move along. Hayden Cruikshank now sits on the line where he will get ready to go to war with Carl Ferrar.
Teammates going head to head. Good friends in the paddock, pitted next to each other, very good friends on and off the circuit.
Yeah,
now
but
they
let
do
me tell
battle.
you one thing, there's no friends on that start line, Ian.
There certainly isn't. When the visor goes down, thumbs up from both our guys. This is going to be a good battle. These guys drive with each other all the time. They know each other very well. Hayden Cruikshank to lead out Carl Ferrar. Carl Ferrar sends in that JZ powered RX-8 behind Cruikshank. Now, we've watched Cruikshank in qualifying earlier. This guy has got an impeccable lead run. What can Ferrar do? Ferrar gets it wrong.
Big errors from Ferrar, wheels off circuit, opposite drift, and just getting a little bit wide there. And I think Cruikshank really applying the pressure from the lead position, doing a really good job out front. Takes it to the wall. You got to say advantage with Hayden Cruikshank after the first end of this one. And I think Carl Ferrar has got to hope for a minor miracle here in order to get himself back into this one.
One thing I've learned from watching Hayden Cruikshank in the last couple of years as he's progressed his way through the ranks is that this guy rarely makes mistakes. He's he's cool, calm and collected. You watch him drive, he's always on point. He never really wanders away. Look at that little wave to the camera for Cruikshank. He knows he's got the advantage. They come off the line. It will be Ferrar to lead out Cruikshank for a spot in top 16. Ferrar really now needs to put everything that he has out on track. But look at this, Cruikshank straight on the door of that RX-8. Unbelievable stuff. That's a big car to be throwing around. But Hayden Cruikshank makes it look effortless. Yeah,
do you know what? I think this is a statement, Ian, a statement of what Hayden Cruikshank is feeling at the moment as he throws it nice and wide. Ooh, a couple of wheels dropped though from Carl Ferrar. And for me, Hayden Cruikshank just showing that aggression, poised and looking very comfortable. A really strong performance in the chase position.
That's a very on form Hayden Cruikshank. I want to see that guy go a long way today, and you know what? I think he's going to go all the way through.
Dare I say it, some of the best driving we may have seen from him all year as well.
So who's going to take the win? Left for Ferrar, right for Cruikshank, Kieran, David, and Ryan. Kieran says Cruikshank, David says Cruikshank, so does Ryan. It's unanimous. Hayden Cruikshank gets the win, ladies and gentlemen. And then we go to our judges.
Yeah, great run there from Hayden over both runs. The first one, the car makes a big mistake coming out towards the wall, the second wall there at clip 4. And he actually drives through the centre of the track. Now, he doesn't put 4 wheels off, but it's a huge mistake. So 9-1 after the first one to Hayden. Second one, Hayden, their great chase, was on Carl's door all the way. Carl, an okay lead run. Hayden takes it over both runs.
Well, there you go, Eddie, and that's how it's done. Hayden Cruikshank earned himself a spot in top 16 against his teammate Carl Ferrar. We're going to head down to the pits with our man Nathan. Nathan, what you got for us, mate?
Thank you, Ian and Power Ed. So we're underway with the battles, and there's a spicy one that's about to come your way. We are here with Lisa Branch, who just made her way into the battles. Lisa, how are you feeling? You're going up against the very fearsome Lee Scott. Talk to me. What's going on?
Well, I'm going to ruin his weekend if I do knock him out, aren't I?
So you're looking to take down the 3-time, winner of the BDC events. You've got no fear. You're ready to rumble.
Ready to rumble, absolutely.
Fantastic stuff by the fantastic Lisa Branch. But hold on for a second, because we're going to have a chat with the very clear-speaking Lee Scott. Hi, Lee. How are you? Lisa Branch just basically said you haven't got what it takes to win today. She says, be ready to cry into a soft pillow tonight, because you're about to lose. Response?
Here, I've been up against all the women in the competition, and they're actually harder than the men to take down, but here we'll try our best throughout the day to win the championship, so I think if we go by the top 32, we have it, so we're just going to push hard and see what we can get.
Yep. Thanks to you. Back to you guys, yeah.
Thanks, Nathan. So we keep it going here, and up first before we do see that Lisa Branch battle.
Lisa Scott.
It's too many Lisa Scotts and Lee Scotts. Ricky Lawrence on the line to take on Matt Fountain. Now, Ricky Lawrence, Eddie, as you mentioned earlier, that guy has got some pace behind him at the moment.
Yeah, he has got some balls, does this young man, and you know, right now ready to take it out to the circuit. What is Matt Fountain? Look at this, Ian, straight from the off, a big gap opens up. Matt Fountain has a mountain to climb here if he's going to take down Ricky Lawrence. But now starts to bring the proximity, bringing the fight. Can he tuck down the inside as Lawrence takes it all the way out to the wall. And Lawrence now puts the foot to floor, starts to build this gap now with Fountain struggling to keep pace on a very shallow line through that midsection and through the final stages. No answer from Matt Fountain, advantage Ricky Lawrence.
Well said, Eddie. Yeah, very, very good lead run there from Ricky Lawrence. And what more could you want from Ricky Lawrence? This guy's been on form the last 2 rounds. Looks like he carries that momentum through this round. And for me, Matt Fountain in that HMS Fountain.
Yes, yeah.
You like what I did there?
Yeah.
Boat, big car.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
Right.
More puns.
Yep. He's got a task on his hands, but he's in the lead position now, so it's going to be hard to turn over. And we know that Lawrence is very good in the chase. As they fire it in, it will be Matt Fountain to lead Ricky Lawrence to give chase, and you can see Matt Fountain wandering on the edge of the circuit. But look at the proximity from Ricky Lawrence as they transition back.
Yeah, that proximity made easy by Fountain, throwing on the anchors and slowing down quite a bit through that section. But look at this, door to door, Ricky Lawrence all over the side of that HMS. Absolute yacht of a vehicle, and bringing the fight all the way through. Great proximity from Ricky Lawrence and showing why he is a 2-time winner this season. And Lawrence looking to continue that reign of good form. And for me, you know, I think it all comes down to that. The first battle, Matt Fountain not able to bring the proximity to the same degree. Judge's decision is in. Slide him left for Fountain, right for Lawrence. Who's going through? Kieran Hines, Dave Egan and Ryan, all in favor of Ricky Lawrence. Ricky Lawrence gets the win, and he moves on to the top 16. Judges, pretty clear cut over the 2 runs. That proximity from Lawrence on the second run, incredible.
Not only proximity, but an exceptional chase run, especially on this circuit. I mean, we haven't watched even pro drivers at round 1 be able to get that kind of consistent proximity around here. And just as we noted from our side of things, just so you guys are clear at home and in attendance, the first wall run after the first corner to the second seems to be where a lot of the chase cars are making mistakes. You get caught in the transition late there. When you transition, the lead car is gone and you can't catch them. What Lawrence does cleverly there is he transitions early, so he's loads of time to set up Matt for the rest of that big corner, and he just plays with him the whole way like a cat with a mouse. Incredible stuff. He's going to be tough to beat.
He certainly is, Dave, and like we say, he's carried some serious momentum from the last 2 rounds. What can he do in the rest of the competition? Well, we will find out. Moving it on, Lee Scott to take on Lisa Branch. She said she's going to ruin his weekend. He said the women are harder to beat than the men. Well, we're about to find out if that is true. They're on the line and ready to go, Eddie.
Yeah, ready to go, and you see bonnet off that car. Hopefully that's not a sign of any problems or gremlins resurfacing for Lee Scott, but maybe just ensuring that this car is kept nice and cool. They are off, and a big gap opens up straight away. Lee Scott chasing that championship win. And Lisa Scott looking to try and... Lisa Branch looking to try and spoil the party, but right now she is nowhere to be seen, as it's feeling Scott all the way around the circuit. Lee doing a really strong job in the lead position. Another near perfect run from him. The Finvoy boy strutting his stuff, and he's taking a big advantage into the second half of this run. No proximity from Branch, unable to match the pace of Scott, and they switch it around for the second half of this one.
Huge separation, like you say, Eddie, from the get-go. As soon as they come off the start line, Lee Scott just goes to show you the pace that he's got in that car. He absolutely drove away Lisa Branch, just couldn't do anything about it. But now she's in the lead position. Is she ready to be pushed around by Lee Scott? Well, let's find out, as Lisa Branch now leads out Lee Scott for a spot in the top 16. Here we go. Lisa Branch fires the car in. Lee Scott just gives her some room. He'll know that she's the slower car. Starts to gain some proximity by diving up on the door. Gives us some room on transition now. Lisa Branch not doing a whole lot wrong out front, puts in a very good lead run, but here comes Lee Scott. Look at this, right up on the door. As Lee Scott now starts to force that E46 BMW on the side of Lisa Branch. A little rub on the side for Lisa. As Lee Scott transitions back now and attacks the other side of the car, and they come across the line. Unbelievable stuff.
For just a split second, it looked like Lee Scott had gone just that little bit too deep and was going to cause himself to spin, but you know, just manages to keep that going. And what a talent this young man possesses. So we need a winner.
Who's going to take it through?
Top 16 competitor, Lee Scott, Lisa Branch. The judges' scores are in. Side of left for Lisa, right for Scott. Kieran Hines says. Lee Scott, David Egan says. Lee Scott and Ryan makes it official. Lee Scott's going through to the top 16. Judges, a masterclass from the championship leader.
Yeah, great run there from Lee. Look, he has a massive advantage after the first one. Lisa's, she's dropped at the start line, never catches up, and despite cutting the track almost everywhere, still doesn't get back that proximity, so he has a huge advantage after the first one. And on the second one there, you saw he was actually on her door all the way around. In fact, there might even be a slight little bit of contact coming into the wall for the second time, but over both runs, huge advantage, and Lee goes through.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Taking the winner, moving through to the top 16 is Lee Scott. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to your 2018 Pro-Am champion, Lee Scott. Give him a round of applause, Rockingham. Unbelievable drive from this guy. Securing the top 16 position, secured the championship, and that guy has just conquered it. What an achievement, Eddie.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
look, 2 titles for this young man in the 2018 season, and you know what, a credit to himself and everyone. He has been so humble all year, and what about the driving that we have seen from him? Absolutely flawless all year long. He has been very hard to beat, and very few can say that they've actually done it. We will see him later on in the top 16, but we got to move it on. Matt Walker now getting ready to take on Hugo Saville in, you know, another very interesting battle. Matt Walker in the underpowered BMW, Saville in that Corolla with 550 brake horsepower, V8 under the bonnet. But right now, Walker sits nice and high up in the championship order, and every point is very important for him at this point. Nailing the outer line so far in the lead position. And right now, Hugo Saville needs to try and find a little bit of pace here to get himself back into this one, because he just can't seem to find an answer for Matt Walker right now and unlock Walker's run. Walker doing a really nice job collecting those outer zones. Steady proximity, I suppose, from Hugo Saville, but just never able to make it onto the door of that little BMW.
No, Matt Walker, we've classed him before as the giant killer. That guy absolutely flying today, as always. And for me, I think Hugh's in a dangerous position now. He's in the lead position as they go back to the line. I think Matt Walker's going to stick it to the door, and he's not going to budge an inch. And we can see there's some contact with the wall there from Matt Walker. That little BMW looking very tired after a very hard year's drifting.
So we are just lining them back up, getting them ready for the second half of this one. And you have to say, maybe a very slight advantage to Matt Walker, able to keep that proximity or keep that advantage, that distance away from Hugh Saville. Saville now in the lead position. What can he do? Can he put in a really strong qualifying run and try and gain some ground of his own, pull a gap? But no, starts to lose some ground, drops the wheel off circuit. Not the perfect line through the first 3 clipping zones in.
No, not a perfect line at all. And here comes Matt Walker looking for the door as Hugh stands on the accelerator and starts to pull away. Another dive from Matt Walker again to get on the door of that little AE86. Can Walker get some good proximity on the last section?
But you know what? He's not gaining that proximity, but he is doing it in is driving a wider line. So he's not sacrificing his line to try and get on the door. Hugh having quite a shallow line throughout the circuit, and Matt Walker saying, you know what, I'm not going to deviate off that line. I'm not going to make the dive to try and get the proximity. I'm going to stay on that wide line and show that I can still stay a steady pace behind him. And I think the judges may reward that as well. I think for me, over the 2 runs, Walker should be taking this one. Here we go. Judges' results are in. Side of net for Hugh, right for Walker. Kieran Hines says Matt Walker. David agrees, and Ryan makes it unanimous. Not the closest battle we've seen in terms of proximity, guys, but Walker taking it through with fewer mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, Matt's lead was good. Hugh on the line, but just not enough proximity. It's almost like he was holding back. When they swapped rounds, Hugh's lead wasn't the greatest. He missed a couple of clips. Matt stayed on the line, decent proximity, a good chase. So Matt took the advantage over both runs.
There we go. Matt Walker, the Giant Killer, taking the win and going through to the top 16. Up next, Stu Egdahl to take on Neil Bamford.
This is going to be a good battle.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because Stu Egdahl is on fire at the moment. He's feeling confident. There's no regard left. He's got all off-season to rebuild that car if he needs to. Neil Bamford, we've seen him in competition quite a bit this season. We know he's a very good driver. Look at this.
Side by side as they come down the stretch, Ian.
Yeah, look at that big dive straight up onto the door from Bamford.
Bamford spins!
Bamford over-rotates.
Bamford spins as Egdahl drops wheels, but you know what? Egdahl won't mind that. He sails off into the distance, and he's going to know that he has himself a 10-0 advantage going into the second half of this one. A clean pass of the circuit will see him into the top 16 for the final round of the year. And you know what? He's been pushing hard, and he has been feeling good here this weekend. Stuart Egdahl, can he contain the excitement? Bamford, though, throwing it away, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely threw it away, Eddie. The aggression that he tried on the initiation was good. You know, it's what we like to see. We like to see that aggression on the initiation, but unfortunately for Bamford, it just didn't pay off. And we're going to look at a replay. Yeah, not really sure what happened to Bamford there. Maybe he was anticipating that Egdahl would be faster than he was, and he didn't slow down enough, got back on the accelerator a little bit too early and over-rotated. However it plays out, it's a 10-0 advantage in Stu Egdahl's hands, and like you say, Eddie, rightly so, Stuart Egdahl really now just needs to put in one clean pass. He's got himself placed in top 16.
Yeah, easier said than done, though. Of course, those, you know, your mind can play tricks on you, get ahead of yourself, and think, oh, I've already got 1 foot in the top 16, but look at this, Bamford, you know, very late initiation. I think there could be issues with this car, Ian, because this isn't what we're accustomed to seeing from him. He starts to pull a bit of a gap here, though, because he is sacrificing a lot of line. Stuart Egdahl, though, needs to pull himself back into this, because right now he runs the risk of having a non-contested run here. He's quite some distance back. He's just starting to pull himself back into it now towards the latter stages, but big gap opened up between him and, oh, a big straighten as well from Stuart Egdahl. So Stuart Egdahl beated a tyre. So there you go.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
wheel actually broken.
Did he have contact with the wall?
Not entirely sure what happened there to Stu Egdahl, because the rim just looks like it's destroyed itself.
Yeah, it certainly didn't spot anything, and you can see the late entry there from Bamford. Is this where it happens? Is it coming out to this wall? No, nowhere near the wall here. And
yeah, not entirely sure exactly what happened to Stuart Egdahl there. As you say, Eddie, looked pretty confident here. We know he's nowhere near that wall there because he fails to get to the outer zone. And then it's on this transition back. Maybe it's here we broke the bead. Yeah, broke the bead on the transition. And then,
yeah, but it looks like there's some quite heavy damage to that wheel as well, Ian. I'm not so sure.
Well, we are waiting for the judges to give us a verdict on this one and work out what way it's going to go, if anybody's going to get the win, or could it potentially go a one more time. We can see here Neil Bamford just finishing off the run. And we can see right there that Stuart Egdahl's car beats the tyre. So judges just discussing where the end of the run is. Where they're trying to discuss where Stuart Egdahl straightened and where the end of the circuit was. So did he straighten before the finish line, or was it a completed run? We're about to find out. So judges' scores drop in. As we can see Stuart Egdahl down there with his car. So, slide them left for Bamford, right for Egdal. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Kieran, David and Ryan. Kieran says one more time, David and Ryan. So one more time. Mistakes from both these guys, and I'm going to say with an incomplete run from Stu Egdal and an incomplete run from Neil Bamford, one more time, the easiest way to go. I've got something right. He's not going to smile. He's just like, yeah, all right.
You're getting there, Ian. You're getting there.
One out of a year.
Well, just to cut across, they were actually very close to a 10-0. Stewart actually had no proximity because of the tyre off the rim the whole track. His run was really bad. So it was actually borderline 9-1 at that point. And then obviously when he came to the finish line, we were giving him the benefit of the doubt in replay. He does stop up quite a bit before the finish line and just drives across it. So it balanced Neil's spin from the first, and we'll see him go at it again.
So a lifeline thrown to Neil Bamford, and he will have a second crack at the whip against Stuart Egdal. We move it on, though, to the next battle, which will see Paul Cunnington taking on Charles Funnell. Two very evenly powered vehicles, and two guys qualifying from 10th to 23rd position on the grid. So this one, expect this one to be tight.
So off the line they come. Paul Cunnington to lead out Charles Funnell for a spot in top 16. Little opposite flick from Cunnington, big aggression. But look at this, Charles Funnell now starts to try and find the side of that slide S14. Just can't get there though, as Cunnington stands on the accelerator. And here Charles Funnell now making another dive, but oh, a big mistake from Charles Funnell as he straightens up completely, Eddie.
Yeah, shuts it down, Ian, and I'd imagine, based on what we've seen from the judges already, that could be a 10-0 advantage in the favour of Cunnington. Certainly a very sizable advantage. If I don't hear a 10-0, I would be expected to hear 9-1. Would you be in agreement?
Yeah. Definitely, yeah, 100%. Very aggressive initiation, though, from Paul Cunnington. And a very good lead line. Starts to fall offline ever so slightly here. Doesn't really make it all the way out to the outer zone. But Paul Cunnington, nevertheless, does maintain speed. And a pretty good line. Look at that, nice into that zone. You can see him upshift there, but big straighten from Charles Funnell. Does get drifting again, but it is a lengthy straighten now.
And I think, you know, what can appear as though it's quite a simple circuit and it's all outer zone clips, it's actually quite difficult to stay on that qualifying line all the way throughout. You know, it takes a lot of commitment, and these guys just maybe backing off in sections where they, you know, could be better off keeping that throttle pinned. So here we go, second half of this one. Funnell will know he's up against it now. Needs to pull out a big run, hope for something from Cunnington in terms of errors. Can Cunnington gift Funnell one more time here? Oh, but Funnell again with a big straightening.
Yeah, another big straighten there for Charles Funnell. Paul Cunnington doing the right thing, just backing off, giving Funnell the opportunity to get back drifting again. As Charles Funnell fires the car at the wall for the final time. Paul Cunnington right on the back bumper. And Charles Funnell not having the weekend he'd hoped for.
No, certainly not. And of course, you have to remember that each battle for these drivers now will be potentially their last battle of the season and the campaign in 2018. So a lot at stake, a long off season. Here we go, Charles Funnell, Paul Cunnington. Who's going to go through to the top 16? Kieran Hines says Paul Cunnington. David Egan agrees, and Ryan makes it official.
Yep, no need to go to the judges for that one, Eddie. Two big straightens will equate in zeros, and Paul Cunnington getting the win and going through to top 16. We go down to the pits to catch up with our good friend Nathan Black. Where are you, mate?
Thank you, gentlemen. So we are down here, and the battles are just powering on through. It's exciting so far, but we've got an extra special tasty battle coming your way. I'm here with the only man that skips leg day every week. It's Danny Maguire. Mr. Maguire, look at that smile. How could you not love a smile like that? So back round 4, you made it through to the BDC, but you went out before the battles. This time it's a different story. You're heading into the battles. How are you feeling?
Really good, yeah. We're going to bring it, yeah. Send it in, last event of the season. Give the body shop some jobs to be done.
What are you bringing and what are you sending in? Is this kind of code speak from where you're from?
I'm bringing the battler and sending the car to that wall.
Sounds exciting to me. Danny Maguire and his nemesis, his name is Nirages. Don't know if that's his rap battling name. I don't think he's from Yorkshire. He's quite handsome. He's very bold, and we're going to have a chat with him now. Nerejus, how are you feeling, buddy?
Oh, I'm feeling good, like every BDC event.
So you're excited to be here. You're going up against Mr. Maguire. Looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting battle. Do you think you can take the win here today?
Everyone wants to win, you know. We'll do best.
Well, Nerejus, if that is your real name, I wish you the best of luck. Give me some sugar, baby. Over we go. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nathan. He's getting down there. He's learning. He's learning the lingo now.
Yeah.
Sending it and.
Well, he's got to learn it. So he's going to be owning this series after 6 o'clock tomorrow. So we will be going back to the one more time battle of Stuart Egdal and Neil Bamford. And of course, Neil Bamford being handed that lifeline from Stuart Egdal after Stuart putting in such a strong lead run and Bamford having that spin. So this could be an interesting one, a chance for Bamford just to regroup and bring it this time. And
yeah, I feel that Stuart Egdal will have a little bit more confidence as well. You know, he hasn't driven that car a lot in competition, so he's going to be feeling on top of the world now. Look at that thumb out the window. He's happy. Gives a high five to our start line, Marshall Melks. I'm going to put it all out there now. I'm going to say that Stuart Egdal's going to put everything he has got, every drop of heart and soul into this run.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to go a long way.
I think he's going to put all his eggs in one basket. And I think if you look at the second half of that run, you know, if it wasn't for the DB on the tyre, I think we would have seen a similar performance to what he put down on his lead run. Again, straight out the bat. Ooh, bit of a tentative entry. Had to reinitiate there, Ian.
Yeah, definitely had to reinitiate there, but now starts to get into it as Stuart Egdal stands on the accelerator, looks to the wall, nice and deep into that outer zone. Egdal back on the accelerator, but Bamford right on the back bumper this time. No mistakes from Neil Bamford. He knows where he put a foot wrong last time, and he knows that Egdal's...
Oh, but Bamford getting caught a little bit, and his line has been shallow.
From Egdal. Egdal, though, just drops that second to last outer zone, but Egdal absolutely flying.
Yeah, look, I don't think that was as strong a lead run from Egdal this time around. However, you know, it was all, he didn't have the same pressure on the first run after Bamford had made that spin. So Bamford certainly brings that proximity, but sacrificed a lot of the track in order to gain that. And I think the judges might take that into consideration. Thumbs up from the drivers as they get set to switch it around and go to war one more time. Here we go. Malks gives them the orders. They slam it through the gears. What can Bamford do in the lead position? Quite a shallow line as...
Oh, look at this from Egdal. Egdal now starts to look for the back bumper of Bamford. Fires it onto the back end.
Bamford dropping the wheel.
Bamford's very shallow from Bamford. And look at Egdal absolutely hunting down the side of that AirTech S14 as Bamford now looks to get back on the right line, but Stu Egdal's right with him. Bamford drops the clipping point now as both guys go wall to wall and door to door and almost contact over the line. I told you, Egdal and Bamford put their heart and soul in it. Look at both those guys.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, though, it goes back to qualifying and the fact that Neil Bamford just hasn't managed to dial in this lap just yet, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor. So here we go. Judges' results are in. Side of left for Bamford, right for Egdal. Kieran Hines says Stuart Egdal. David Egan is in agreement. Ryan makes it unanimous. We go back to the judges on it. The one more time battle, a little bit closer this time around, guys, but Egdal.
Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so in the first run there, we had a 5-5 for us between Stuart and Neil. Stuart had a bit of an error between 7 and 8, came away from the clip a bit too early. However, Neil basically came away from the wall just before that, so it kind of cancelled each other out enough for a 5-5. And then when Stu chased, it was actually a really good chase that Stu did for quite a poor lead line that Neil gave him, and that just bled away the points throughout the run, giving Stu the advantage in that one.
So there we go. Stu Egdal taking the win and moving through to the top 16. Up next, Philip Hayden to take on Stu Jones. The battle of the BMWs. E36 Compact to take on E36. This one should be a good one, Eddie.
Yeah, I think this will be a very exciting battle. Of course, Stu Jones in the borrowed car, but he made it work and managed to scrape into the top 32. But he's coming up against Philip Hayden, who looks very quick out in this circuit. Hayden, of course, producing it when it mattered in the second run and got himself into a third position in qualifying. So certainly on form, but right now, Stu Jones right there with him. Can he maintain that proximity as he starts to fall back a little bit now? Hayden Hayden in a really strong lead line, keeps it pinned and takes it right out to the wall. One of the best lines we've seen coming towards that wall all day. And Stu Jones maintains steady proximity, but unable to get within touching distance as they cross the line for the first half of this one. Philip Hayden showing why he was capable of getting that third position in qualifying.
Philip Hayden doing a very, very good job there, Eddie, and this guy just blows me away every time I see him because he's so quiet, you know, very reserved young guy. And when you see him in the car drive like that, you're absolutely mind blown. See him in the chase position now, which he likes to be. Look at that, ice cold, looking straight forward. He's ready for action. On the line, it will be Hayden to chase down Jones. Who's going to take it through to the top 16? Both those guys smash through the gears as Stu Jones fires his car in nice and wide. But look at Hayden. Hayden straight on the back bumper, very shallow from Jones.
Yeah, but you see Hayden having to make a lot of corrections there. He got his line wrong through those first clipping zones, and now he starts to bring the fight as Stu Jones does a very good job in the lead position. Right now, Philip Hayden looks to gain that last bit of proximity towards the end. Can he get on the rear bumper of that E36? He certainly can, but was it too little too late? This one, I think, very closely in over the course of the two runs.
Certainly a close battle and very, very good chase from Philip Hayden. Like you say, a few mistakes there, got himself caught up a little bit in the wrong part of the circuit, but for me, I think the lead and chase compared, I think Philip Hayden looks like the stronger contender, but I've been proven wrong in the past, Eddie.
Yeah, no, but I think I'd be inclined to agree with you on this occasion. Judges just having a bit of a discussion about this one.
Yeah,
Ian, and you know, I think it's close.
Naturally, look, sitting back, Kieran Hines, typical hand-on-head gesture.
Ryan just trying to insult people and...
yeah, doing the hand drifting gesture.
Very animated.
Very animated. So judges just discussing this one. If you're hanging around, if you've got nothing to do apart from watch this drifting, get yourself over to the British Drift Championship merchandise stand. Like I said earlier, this stuff not available after this event. So once it goes, and this is the final run of this 2018 clothing.
As they say, when they're gone, they're gone. So don't be disappointed. Get over to Jess and Jordan. Tell them Eddie and Ian sent you. And
I was right, they are doing deals.
They are doing deals.
They're doing deals.
Yeah. You know, wave a little bit of money at them.
Yeah, throw your money around, why not? It's the final round of the championship. Don't forget you could get your Drift Games merchandise over there as well. Hoodies, hats.
I'm seeing Drift Games clothing pop up everywhere. I mean...
everywhere.
Yeah, it's a popular line at the moment. I think it's because people see Mike Leeson wearing it all the time. He's so handsome. Here we go. Stu Jones, Philip Hayden. Who's it going to be? We know it's got to be close. Kieran Hines says. Philip Hayden, David Egan, Philip Hayden. Ryan makes it official. Philip Hayden moves on to the top 16. And judges, you took your time with that one. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a really close one. We were just analysing it there and having a discussion on it. So Peter Hayden, he has a phenomenal lead run. I mean, this guy today has just been on fire. Stu actually does a really good job in the chase, but he makes a big error transitioning at the first big transition after clipping zone 3. Sort of goes on too much angle, slows down, plays catch up from that point. We even swung the advantage towards Hayden even on his lead run. Second one, Hayden, we expected him to bring a bit more of a fight to it, but he doesn't. But Jones, even though he's got a great line, he's not using a whole lot of angle around the track. He's sort of barely drifting at times. When you compare lead to lead and chase to chase, and you kind of have to break it all down, Hayden had the better two runs, even though Jones put in a great display. So
there we go, Philip Hayden sitting the win and moving through to the top 16. And I do believe our good friend, Eddie.
We're giving him a lot of airtime today, Ian.
It's the final round. He might not be back next year. We don't know who the management are yet. They might not want him. Nathan, where are you, mate? Who you got?
Hello there, chaps. Now I'm down with another dynamic duo here. We've got Walsh versus Earl. Let's have a chat with Earl. Earl, can you pay attention to me, please? I'm very important. How are you feeling? You're going up against Walsh over there. Talk to me.
Yeah, feeling good. Hopefully we rub and see through doors, make a bit of damage on Peyton's car.
Oh, you'd like to put a little bit of damage. You don't like them doors, no? You're not just jealous, are you? You're not jelly?
No, I'd just rather rub Peyton's doors, to be honest with you.
Sounds good. I'd like to rub Peter's doors as well, if you know what I mean. Right, good luck to you, all right? So I'm going to have a chat with Mr. Walsh over here. Walsh, now again, interesting. I mean, first of all, how are you feeling? You're the last of the battles. How, you know, what's going on?
Yeah, it's good. Having fun. Just here for the crack.
That's what it's all about, having fun. Now, you're in Peyton's car. Now, Peyton's supposed to be taking part in tomorrow's festivities. But what happens if you win here today? Because only one car can go through, so what would happen?
He'll probably have to sit and watch.
Is that right? Maybe you could do a little bit of wrestling in your underpants. I know that's Peden's kind of thing. Winner gets to go for a drive tomorrow. Well, listen, if it does come down to that, I'll buy a ticket. Wish you all the best. You got this. Come on. All right, buddy.
Thanks, Nathan. So there you go. Peter Nilsson lending out his car to his good friend Seamus Walsh to compete in. And up next is that battle that we spoke to Nathan about earlier. Neregis Voicelicious to take on Danny Maguire.
Yeah, awesome pronunciation of the surname there, Ian.
Trying.
Yeah, look, it's a difficult one. We'll forgive you. 500 brake horsepower and above in both these machines, so pretty similar power. And I'm not so sure who's going to take this one. I think these guys have evenly matched 14th and 19th in qualification this morning, so Neregis, just hangs on, Ian. One wheel, like it was on a track, managed it, but that is a huge mistake in the lead position from Neregis, and Danny Maguire just needs to hold his composure here, keep himself on circuit, keep that wide line. He's lost a little bit of ground here, but I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. It will be a huge mistake from Neregis. Now through the final sections of the circuit, Neregis, in fairness to him, corrects himself quite well, but Danny brings it right out to the wall. Big error.
Huge error, Eddie, and for me, Danny Maguire did an absolutely amazing job of staying on circuit when Neregis fell off. You know, he see him going way off circuit, and you could see Danny Maguire stay in the throttle, but keep that car on circuit. And Danny Maguire, for me, looking like the stronger competitor. Neregis, though, like you mentioned, got it back on tracks, got that car absolutely singing as it always does. But that's a huge error, and he knows that. He's going to have to really fight for this one now, as they are on the line, are ready to go. Maguire to lead out Neregis. As the sun shines on our monitor, we're unable to see it.
Yeah, Danny Maguire doing a really nice job here, but Neregis has backed out of it completely in and driven off circuit. So very unfortunate. We wait to hear from the marshals what exactly has happened there, as Neregis backs out completely and hands what I would imagine is the win.
Sorry about that, Eddie. I had to leave you there. The sun shone right on the monitor. I couldn't see a thing. I was blinded. I'm trying to look out the window. I see Neregis driving off circuit. Danny Maguire, arms out the window.
Yeah, I mean, people don't understand, you know, how we have to be so reactive to everything that happens, you know. We're hearing it was a diff problem for Neregis, and yeah, look, I mean, so unfortunate he had that disadvantage. It's pretty much a formality from the judges. Danny Maguire left, Neregis right, Kieran, David and Ryan all in agreement. No need to go to the judges there. Danny Maguire moves on to the top 16.
He certainly does, and with just 2 more battles to go in our top 32, we are getting through them thick and fast. Up next, Lewis and Mitchell to take on Robin and Neeson. So Robin Neeson to take on Lewis and Mitchell, 560 horsepower to take on 850.
Yeah, I mean,
just
look,
850.
These two cars producing crazy horsepower, and right now Lewis Mitchell, he's got to be feeling confident going up against Robin Neeson. Robin Neeson's qualifying down the order, 27th position. Lewis in 6th. However, Robin Neeson is just able to produce it. Can he do it, though, here in the top 32? Can he secure a spot in the top 16? Right now, just doesn't look comfortable out there, Ian.
No, he doesn't. Late initiation from Neeson, and now it's way offline as Lewis Mitchell looks like he's got this one absolutely dialed.
Yeah, once again, though, Mitchell looking very slow through that section as he comes up towards the grandstand, but gets back on the power. And even earlier on, when we said he looked slow, the judges rewarded him with a high score. So he's obviously doing something right from their point of view. Now, Robin Neeson tries to bring the fight with a big straight.
And Robin Neeson shuts it down before the finish line. I can only assume from what we heard earlier on from our judges that will be a 10-0, Eddie.
Yeah,
Robin Neeson just not finding that luck.
No, it's just something, I don't know what it is for Robin Neeson. He's certainly, we know the ability's there because we've witnessed it, we've seen it in the past, and it just doesn't seem to produce it when it matters. And obviously, of course, whatever that error was at the end, just costing him massively. But you got to say, Lewis Mitchell had looked so good in the lead position, so we switched them around for the second half of this one. 2 more spots up for grabs. in the top 16. Who's going to take the first of those places? Oh, but a problem with Lewis Mitchell as they leave the line. Could Robin Neeson be about to bring himself back into this one? Dives on a huge angle and makes a big error, Ian.
It looks like Robin Neeson was going to go for an over-rotation now. Lewis Mitchell stays in it, starts to put in a run, but...
Oh, and another straighten from Robin Neeson.
Yeah, huge errors from both these guys. This is a very strange battle to witness.
Trying to just figure out exactly what could be going wrong with... Is there problems with the car? Is it driver error? Certainly Robin Neeson doesn't look comfortable. Certainly Lewis Mitchell was slow off the line. Was there a problem there with his car? And I'm hearing discussions about initiations and timings, and I wonder, I think this will be one where we might need to go back to the judges just to get an exact clarification from the rule books from them as to what happened and what way they've made their decision. So looks as though they've finished discussing this one and the scores are popping up on our screens. Is it going to be Robin Neeson? Is it going to be Lewis Mitchell? Kieran, David and Ryan. One vote for Lewis Mitchell. David Egan says Lewis Mitchell. Ryan makes it unanimous. Judges, just talk us through that one. You were having a discussion about initiation times. Lewis Mitchell getting the win over the course of the 2 runs.
Yeah, there in the first one, well, I think it's fairly obvious. Robin shuts down just before he gets to the finish line there, scores 0, so it's a 10-0 after the first one. Very hard to come back from that. And on the second one, even though there's very big separation, Robin has a big error in front of us again where it looks like he has a car issue. Car straightens up, he reinitiates, gets going again. Lewis maintains enough proximity to be able to get a score on the board, so it didn't come back to another 10-0, so over both runs, Lewis gets.
So there you have it. Lewis Mitchell takes the penultimate spot in the top 16. We have one battle left, and a very interesting one from where I am. You have Andrew Earl, an up-and-coming star of the sport, on a high from that recent podium, and versus Seamus Walsh in that borrowed car from Pete Nielsen, but a wealth of experience under his belt, and he has been growing in confidence every time he's come out in this car, qualified in 22nd position. Can he take down fellow Irishman Andrew Earl? We are about to find out. Maltz gives the orders. They are go. Here we go. Andrew Earl leads them in. Walsh right there with him, side by side, as they take it nice and wide out to that second outer zone. Earl brings it to the wall and starts to pull a bit of a gap. Will we see the dive from Seamus the Moose Walsh? Walsh maintains that proximity now as he goes nice and wide. Brings it door to door of that PS13 of Andrew Earl. And Earl, not flawless out in that lead position, but doing a good job, and Walsh able to maintain steady proximity in a very close battle, and I wouldn't imagine too much of an advantage either way.
No, very, you know, for me, the lead run wasn't that good. Andrew Earl's lead wasn't the best we've seen. Dropped a few clips, made some errors. But Seamus Walsh's chase was unbelievable. That guy got very close. Put on a really good show. For me, I'd say, if anything, Seamus Walsh with a small advantage going into the second half of this battle. He's now in the lead. Can Andrew Earl claw back some lost points that he potentially has? Well, we're going to find out as they come off the line. It will be Seamus Walsh. Seamus Walsh to lead in Andrew Earl. Walsh dropping wheels, but Andrew Earl right on the back bumper of that Drift Games 180SX. Oh, Andrew Earl gets out of shape as Walsh looks steady in front now, starts to pull a little bit of ground from Andrew Earl. Andrew Earl makes the dive across the circuit. Can he get on the door? Oh, wow, contact with the wall. As Seamus Walsh puts that car on the wall, Andrew Earl drops wheels over the edge of the circuit.
Yeah, calamity of errors from, Carnage is right. 2 bumpers lost off 2 different walls, and a calamity of errors. Pete Nielsen may never let Seamus Walsh drive his car again. Even if he progresses through, I don't think we'll see Seamus Walsh in the top 16, because Pete was like, hey, you know, that's still my baby.
Sorry, Peden, that's what he said. Under his hat, he was like, sorry, mate. Then just whipped the back end of the car off the wall.
Fix it, I promise.
So who's going to take it through to the top 16? The final spot remains Seamus Walsh on the left, Andrew Earl on the right, Kieran, David and Ryan. Kieran says one more time, David says one more time, Ryan says one more time. Judges couldn't split them.
Yeah, you know, good battle, but there was a couple of mistakes on both sides. Earl has a great lead. misses clip 7. Walsh, good chase, not a lot of angles, so I leaned a little bit towards Walsh on that one and said 6-4 after the first run. When it switches around though, Seamus makes a kind of a big error from 2 to 3, straightens up and affects Andy in the chase position, throws him off a little bit, and then Seamus goes again too deep towards the wall, coming towards the last zone, and jumps from 7 to 8. So we didn't know big major errors but enough to swing it back 6-4 the other way and go for one more time.
Perfect, and I was right again. I'm getting good at this, Ed. Get back into the swing of things. A few weeks off.
Yeah, but pride comes before a fall, Ian, so just remember that.
So don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like I say, if you want to get yourself some clothing, head on down to the British Drift Championship shop. Once that stock is gone, it is gone. Like Eddie said earlier, we're going to move on with the action though. Ryan Caldwell are now to take on Stephen Fitzgerald, an all-Irish affair again, Eddie.
Yes, and
it's good if you knock each other out all the way through. It'll just be English on the final. Perfect.
Yeah, it's just a pity there's no streak to be taken down in the BDC, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Don't fist bump him. Off the line, Ryan Caldwell to lead out Stephen Fitzgerald for a spot in the Great 8. Oh, Fitzgerald throws a big angle. Can he hold on to it? He certainly can. He knows he's up against a tough contender, the first place qualifier now. Dials on an amazing transition as Caldwell stands on the accelerator and starts to drive away. Fitzgerald getting lost in the smoke ever so slightly. Fitzgerald now looks for the door, but sacrificing line and clipping points as Caldwell puts it to the wall, brings it across the finish line.
Yeah, look, I think Steve Fitzgerald would have known he was coming up against one of the hottest properties in drifting right now, and Ryan Caldwell doing exactly what we expected, laying down a solid lead line and not letting Fitzgerald get within an inch of him. He just said, you know what, mate, if you want this, come and get it, because you're going to have to work for it. We switched them around, and now it's going to be Fitzgerald's opportunity to lead them in, but with the, with the pace we saw Caldwell carry throughout the circuit, I expect Caldwell to be glued to him the entire way around the circuit. Two S15s with plus 500 brake horsepower leave the line side by side. Here we go, Fitzgerald, Caldwell. Fitzgerald goes 4 wheels off.
Wow, Fitzgerald goes off circuit, Caldwell drives away with it, and Caldwell has been gifted a spot in the top 16. Fitzgerald just not able to handle the pressure from a 16-year-old student. And that Quins M Sport S15 is absolutely flying.
Yeah, I mean, look, it just goes to show the mental warfare that's involved in this sport, even without doing anything. His results speak for themselves, and when you go up against the likes of Ryan Caldwell, Lee Scott, you know that you have to be at your best and push 100%, and judges' scores come in. We make it official. Steve Fitzgerald, Ryan Caldwell, Kieran Hines says Ryan Caldwell, David Egan, and Ryan make it unanimous. Pretty obvious, no need to go back to the judges on that one. And I'm hearing that we need to go to the pits where my good friend, well, I'm gonna say good friend, Nathan Black is down in the pits. Nathan, what do you got for us?
Where do you think you're going, sausage pie? Come on back over here, Mr. Sutton. Shut the door now. Look presentable, stand up, good posture and all the rest of it, yeah. Who are you? Don't shout things like that. I'm not, you know that is, turn around. That, by the way, just real quick, that's that insane human being that was growling and rolling around the floor like an insane person. We don't talk to him anymore, Kieran, okay? Back here with someone that looks like you got a few more brain cells. Mr. Sutton, who are you up against and how are you feeling?
I'm against Lexus Drew, and I'm feeling like he's got a lot better car, but I'm going to give it to him. So, you know, I'm going to try my best and hopefully get through.
Sounds like you just planted an excuse there.
Well, maybe. I just, you know, I don't want to big myself up too much, you know?
I don't like people that talk about themselves, you know, that are just all about the attention, that want all the eyes on them. It's not about them. Yeah, absolutely not. It's not about all that kind of stuff. Certainly not for you anyway, but the best of luck to you, Mr. Sutton. Take it away.
Thanks, Nathan. And he's one to talking about people talking about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, look, that guy carries a mirror with him everywhere he goes now. We move it along to the next battle in the top 16. Oliver Bolton to take on Tomas Falvey. Tomas Falvey, for me, you know, catching a little bit of luck against Kirsty Witherington in the top 32 battle. He's got him up against, you know, on form Oliver Bolton, qualified in 8th position. He's gonna have to start producing the goods here soon, Ian.
He certainly is. Oliver Bolton on that absolutely spot-on lead line. What's he got? Feeling super confident, fires it in. Perfect initiation from Bolton, but look at Falvey. Falvey makes a big error though, has to slow the car up. Oliver Bolton stands on it, good transition through the centre of the circuit.
Just hasn't looked comfortable, Tomas Falvey, and
no.
I'm not sure, you know, we talk about horses for courses, and maybe just this isn't one of those courses that suits the style of driving for Tomas Falvey. However, he's keeping himself in this one, not able to match the pace of the line of Oliver Bolton. And for me, Oliver Bolton in the Funk Motorsport 180 SX looking very strong this weekend.
Looking very strong indeed, yeah. Nice lead line there from Bolton. A couple of errors, you know, kind of, he made a small error as he come off the wall, a little wobble on the steering. Very shallow as he come round the top bend. A small amount of errors. Falvey for me though, like you said, Eddie, not really in the fight. We're going to see what it's like when they swap him around. Bolton now to chase down Falvey. As for Falvey, initiates Bolton right with him though. Bolton on the back bumper of that Drift Games S15.
Yeah, Falvey really needs to produce it here now. It needs to continue this, what started out as a good run, needs to keep on that wide line and just hope that he can bring himself back into this one. But Bolton bolts forward and now looks to formulate an attack on that S15 of Tomas Falvey. Starts to really bring the fight and gain that proximity as he makes a dive onto the door as they come through the final sections, and I think he may have just about scraped it.
Do you know what, for me, the proximity build, the way that Oliver Bolton built that proximity through the run, he just kept clawing away, clawing away, clawing away. And as they come into that second to last wall run, Oliver Bolton made the dive, got onto him, and yeah, very, very good stuff there from Oliver Bolton. Can he take the win, or did the judges see something we didn't? As the scores are dropping, bit of deliberation. Maybe they see something we didn't see. Maybe, I know Bolton dropped a couple of clipping points in that lead position.
Maybe we saw something they didn't see.
We always see things they don't see. That's why they don't like us.
Yeah.
So both these guys are waiting patiently for a decision.
I'm not. I want to know. I want to know who's going into that grade 8 to take on Ryan Caldwell.
Whoever it is have got a task on their hands, because Ryan Caldwell looks like he is on form and he looks like he's already got a foot on the podium. Looks like the scores are dropping in from our judges though, or are they still deliberating? Dave Egan and Kieran Hines are just chatting and chatting.
So if Oliver Bolton wins this battle, he goes up against Ryan Caldwell. And if he was to beat Ryan Caldwell, that would be 3 Irish drivers in a row that he would have taken down, all in S15s.
Yep, and not only that, it would be the furthest that Oliver Bolton has got this season in competition. What a statement, what a way to end the season. And
I think that's less relevant, Ian.
But no, it is relevant.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, basically, Oliver Bolton, if he beats Caldwell and Tomas Falvey, it's a bit of a middle finger in it to the Irish in S15s.
Yeah.
It's a bit
yeah.
like,
it'll be like, you know what, S15s.
Irish fellas.
No one wants S15s. Get an S13.
Get an S13, get a 180. So both guys wait patiently on the line. It looks like a decision is in. Who is going to take it through to the Great 8? I know Oliver Bolton's dad is waiting nervously down in the paddock. Will Oliver Bolton see his first Great 8, or will Caldwell face off with Falvey? Slide him left for Falvey, right for Bolton. Kieran Hines says, oh, Ryan says Falvey. David Egan says Falvey. Falvey gets the win, unanimous. Oliver Bolton knocks out competition. Judges, we see it a different way to you.
Yeah, well, look, first run, Bolton comes out the gates swinging. He's absolutely destroyed Tomas through the first 3 clipping zones as they come to the transition. But unfortunately, this is not called the British Lift Championship, because Bolton comes towards the wall, completely shuts off the throttle, and actually goes on an inside line. Falvey has to kind of dive down the middle. It kind of messes up his chase run. And then Bolton misses clipping zones down at the clipping zone 6. As well towards the end, so not a great lead run to chase. So Falvey takes an advantage of 7-3 on that one due to Bolton's large error there. On the second run, Bolton fantastic in the chase position, really aggressive the whole way around, but again it's because Tomas has that perfect lead run. He allows him to do so. So while Bolton takes a 6-4 advantage on the second run, and that big error on the first cost him 7-3, and over the 2, a narrow victory for Tomas Falvey.
So there we go, a narrow victory for Tomas Falvey, and we're going to throw it back to the start line. We see the one more time of Andrew Earl and Seamus the Moose Walsh.
This is as we get ready to let the moose loose about this hoose. Here we go, Andrew Earl to lead him in. The one more time battle, Moose nice and wide as he throws it deep. Andrew Earl collecting those clipping points out in front, and once again, just not the best run from the lead driver. Earl unable to maintain that wide line. Seamus unable to maintain that proximity, but now he starts to bring the fight, and gotta say Seamus trying his best in the lead, or in the chase position in, to put in a good wide run, but getting caught up with the poor line out front from Andrew Earl.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Eddie, 100%. Not the best lead, like you say, from Andrew Earl. Kind of got out of shape as he comes tall to the wall in front of the judging tower. Has to make a few corrections, and yeah, Seamus Walsh struggles really to put in a good battle against it.
Have you noticed Peden's headlights?
Yeah.
They say Mintex.
They're very clever.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to represent one of your sponsors. That guy, very, very creative. And Seamus Walsh able to produce the magic form. Now, can Seamus produce the magic in the driver's seat of that 249 SX?
Well, Seamus Walsh, though, very, very shallow there as he comes from the centre circuit. Now starts to dial it on, but Andrew Earl is right on the back bumper as Seamus Walsh throws some angle to it, gets nice and deep into outer zone, but look at this from Andrew Earl. Andrew Earl all over the back bumper of the Drift Games 180.
Yeah, you got to note that the judges can't send this one more time again, so they have to make a decision over the course of the two battles if they were of the opinion that this one was, essentially a tie as well. But yeah, we're going to see a winner. We're going to see that last spot in the top 16 filled. Being honest, I really don't know.
No,
but the score is in. The judges have their call. Is it going to be Walsh? Is it going to be Earl? Kieran Hines says Andy Earl. David Egan's in agreement. Ryan makes it unanimous. We go back to the judges. The one more time battle produced a winner for you guys.
Sorry about that. So, yeah, basically we had Seamus in his chase. It was good proximity. Andrew Earl, reasonable lead run, slightly off of clip 2. We swap them around. Seamus, he was shallow between 2 and 3, and washing out and almost off the line there, over the line. And he was also off clip 7, which is the same mistake he did last time. But Andrew Earl stuck with him, decent chase run, which gave him a bigger advantage, and just pipped it over that on that run.
Well, there you go, Andrew Earl getting the winner, moving through to the top 16. But we're already ahead of the one of the great 8 battles, and we're going to keep it going. Up next, Alistair Sutton to take on Alexis Drew. And Alistair Sutton saying he's got a big, powerful car, but he's going to send it to him anyway, Eddie.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's hard to look past Alistair Sutton. I mean, we've seen him all season just produce this form, and it's led him to be 4th in the championship coming into this final round. So how can you look past him? I mean, these are drivers in more powerful cars that he's been battling all season long, so he won't feel in any way inadequate as Alexis Drew tries to bring the fight and show it onto the door, but gets a little bit caught down the inside. And you know what? Sometimes those bigger, more powerful cars can just cause problems for a driver. That horsepower can get in the way of that fluidity, and look at this big errors from Alexis Drew as he is just completely out of shape. Alistair Sutton doing what he does best, staying on that qualifying line and just keeping that throttle pinned. You know what, it may only be 200 brake horsepower, but it's using every last bit of it. Very little, lots of wheel speed, but very little smoking.
For me, I'm just absolutely blown away by how good Alistair Sutton is at pedaling that car. Because how can you fault that lead run? I mean, obviously the judges can, they know exactly to the T what they're looking for. But for me, watching it as a spectator and a fan of drifting, he absolutely nailed that lead line. That lead was phenomenal.
I think you can dissect any run and find fault in it if you want to. But if you take into consideration everything he's doing in this particular car, it's phenomenal. Now what can he do in the chase position? He knows he's going to be essentially bringing a spoon to a gunfight. Now, he doesn't seem to have the pace for Alexis Drew, but remember, Alexis Drew had sizable errors in the chase position. This certainly isn't perfect by Alistair Sutton. as he sacrifices quite a lot of line to try and get himself back into this one. He also wants to stay out of that cloud of smoke to avoid any big errors. But Alexis Drew, off circuit, rear bumper, trailing behind him, and yeah, look, a big gap opens up, and of course that does, you know, give the lead driver some advantage. But for me, you can't look past the, you know, the clinic that Alistair Sutton put on in that first run.
No, you certainly can't. Unbelievable lead there, and you know what? Yeah, lacking proximity in the chase. He was still 90% of the time on a good line. Judges want to just see a replay of Alexis Drew. And you can see here, look, this is where Alistair Sutton says, you know what, it makes a decision, I'm going to stick on line. Look how far off track. Is that 4 wheels off track? Noting there is a dotted white line across the circuit there, denoting the edge of the circuit. So if Alexis Drew was 4 wheels off track, it could be a 10-0 advantage to Alistair Sutton. Decisions in. Slide him left for Alexis Drew, right for Alistair Sutton. Kieran says Alistair Sutton. Sorry, it's unanimous. Alistair Sutton gets the win and advances through to the great. Sorry, judges, we throw it to you. Was it 4 wheels off circuit for Alexis Drew?
No, it wasn't 4 wheels, but yeah, just breaking down the 2 runs. Alistair, yeah, he's a good lead run. No errors there really. Alexis in the chase position. He cuts the track in quite a few places, especially 5 to 6 there, and he's so far on the inside he ends up having to back out of it completely to avoid colliding. So he has a bit of a straight in there. So after the first run, Alistair has an advantage of 6-4. When you compare the second run, Alexis actually, you know, he pulls a good gap and he's overturning the errors he made in the first one. In fact, he's on par to take the run, but just coming to clip 7 there, he drops 2 wheels off, and the advantage he had gained to that point was lost, bringing it back to a 5-5. So on the first run, Alistair had a 6-4, so he takes it.
There you go, Alistair Sutton taking the win and moving through to the Great 8, and we keep it going. Hayden Cruikshank up next to take on Ricky Lawrence, the Scotsman, to take on the man that regularly visits Ibisu in Japan to take part in practice days there. So this guy, very experienced driver as they come off the line of Ricky Lawrence. Oh, all over the back bumper of Hayden Cruikshank's car as Cruikshank fires in. Look at Ricky Lawrence. Judges saying earlier that this is the best chase that they've ever seen from Ricky Lawrence. Can he replicate that against Cruikshank? Well, it looks like he's going to, Eddie, as he fires it to the wall.
Yeah, but you know what? Ricky Lawrence dropping off quite a bit there on transitioning, and now gets himself back into this one, but has to completely back out of it as he overcooks it. Big error there. And you know what? Hayden Cruikshank just staying composed, and look at that. A near flawless lead run from him, and I think you got to say Ricky Lawrence bringing the fight. Knew he had to up his game against Cruikshank, but this one is going to come down to the second half of this battle, because Lawrence, I think if he makes any more mistakes, could be saying curtains. I don't know why he'd be saying curtains, Ian.
I didn't want to say anything, Eddie. I didn't want to correct just the final round.
It could be curtains for him. But,
it could be curtains. That's what you meant. He could be saying curtains. He might be saying worse things than curtains. But curtains.
Maybe he could be saying blinds. I don't know.
Off the line, Ricky Lawrence to lead out Hayden Cruikshank. Can Cruikshank repay the favour and give Lawrence a little taste of some proximity? It looks like he's going to attempt to as he makes a dive for the door. Lawrence, tags the wall though, puts in a big straight in the middle of the circuit for Ricky Lawrence. Now finds himself having to work to get back online. Hayden Cruikshank keeps his cool. Could he win this? Could Cruikshank take it through to the Great 8? He looks very good at the moment. And again onto the wall for Ricky Lawrence. Ricky Lawrence with a point to prove as Cruikshank makes one last ditch dive onto the door. Ricky Lawrence is abusing the back of that car on every single wall.
How brave was that? And you just see the reactions of the drivers. But how brave was it going to that wall in with the amount of smoke that they had left there the first time they'd come around by it? I mean, crazy to go that deep into a wall zone where you couldn't even see the wall. Such bravery from both drivers. Judges' scores are in though. Side left for Lawrence, right for Cruikshank, who's going through to the Great 8. Kieran Hines says Hayden Cruikshank. David Egan agrees. Ryan makes it unanimous. Problem with our system. We're hearing over the radios. But guys, what about that? 2 guys showing sheer bravery and commitment.
Yeah, Lawrence more hits than Justin Timberlake there. Actually hits all 3 walls, which is very exciting, but unfortunately he hits the first one a little too hard, actually straightening him out completely. Good aggression, but on that run we saw it as a 5-5. Lawrence did absolutely everything he could do, and to be honest, he had to do it, because on the first run he makes a big error. He goes to try and get as close as he was in the previous battles, but he gets caught on the inside of Cruikshank, who's making no errors whatsoever, and all of a sudden he has to lock on the front brakes and the rear brakes. Car shuts down and gives a 7-3 advantage to Cruikshank, which he carried through to win the battle. Impressive stuff though, exciting, but sometimes you can go a little too hard, and that's what happened with Lawrence there.
Well, there you go, Hayden Cruikshank getting the winner, moving along, and we keep going. Lee Scott now to take on Matt Walker. Can the Giant Killer take down the Giant, the newly crowned 2018 Pro-Am champion? Everyone in the tower looking at me like I'm stupid. Well, we've seen Matt Walker take down some serious contenders. He's in the best place possible as well. He's in the chase position. As they come off the line, it will be Scott to chase, to lead in Matt Walker now. Matt Walker looks to make a dive onto the door, but the proximity is just not there. As Lee Scott stands on the accelerator and starts to drive away from Matt Walker. Matt Walker hanging in there though. Oh, Matt Walker throws a big angle to avoid putting wheels off circuit. As Lee Scott stands on the accelerator one more time and takes that car to the wall and over the finish line. Eddie, what a lead run there from Lee Scott.
Yeah, phenomenal lead run from Lee Scott, doing exactly what we expect to see from him, and you know, flawless as always. But you know, this guy, pressure off. He is the 2018 champion, and you know, you said it, and I would, for one, would be inclined to agree. It was never going to be, you know, a guarantee that Scott would take down Walker. He hasn't even completed that task just yet. But Walker, very capable driver, but he really had to push hard to try and take down the 2018 champ.
So as you can see there, both cars absolutely full of smoke, and Matt Walker just needed some assistance to remove some of that smoke from the back of his car. But he is now in the lead position. He will be leading out Lee Scott as Lee Scott chases down the man they call a Giant Killer, the cat whisperer himself, Matt Walker. And look at this from Lee Scott, straight on the door of that little BMW E30 as they transition back, almost contact. Scott again, straight back onto the door. But Matt Walker with an absolutely perfect lead line. Matt Walker absolutely flying, but Lee Scott right on the back bumper, Eddie. This is a masterclass in lead and chase driving. Walker fires into the second to last outer zone. Lee Scott all over the back end.
Scotty too hotty. I mean, look, masterclass. This guy is a phenom.
So decision is in. Who is going to take it through to the Great 8? Slide them left for Matt Walker, right for Lee Scott. And look at that, unanimous. Lee Scott gets the win and advances through to the Great 8. Judges, we fire it back to you.
Well, Ian, that's how you win a battle. I mean, there's absolutely nothing more we can say. I mean, if you're even a casual fan and you can't figure that one out, Lee Scott, he didn't even need to risk it as much as he did there, and he still does it every run. Phenomenal stuff. Fair play to Matt Walker. His lines made it all possible, but when you give Lee Scott an opportunity like that, he doesn't back down. Incredible stuff from the 2018 champ.
So there you go. What more do you want?
Yawns from Kieran Hines there, as if to say, you know.
He's bored of seeing it now, yeah. It's been a whole year.
I'm not entertained. I want to see something special. Well, I mean, it was pretty special.
Up next, Stu Egdahl to take on Paul Cunnington. Battle of the S14s. Both S14s are running Toyota JZ engines. Stu Egdahl having a weekend of a lifetime now.
Yeah, but look, these two guys are both on form. 7th and 10th in qualifying, Ian. This is going to be a close battle. We saw a little bit of a chink almost in Stewart's armour. However, you know, losing the tyre off the rim, and he comes back out and, you know, reperforms after that one more time with Neil Bamford. What can he do here against Cunnington? Right now, looking really strong, opens up a big gap quite early on. Can he take it out to the wall? Nice and deep into that outer zone as they come by the grandstand. Yeah, can he take it into the top 8? I mean, right now, Cunnington doesn't appear to have an answer for him.
He certainly doesn't, Eddie, you're right. And look at this from Stu Egdahl again. An absolutely flying lead run from Stu Egdahl. A couple of little mistakes, not as deep into some of the zones as we'd like to see it, but I'm just nitpicking. That was a very good lead run there from Stu Egdahl. And like you said, Paul Cunnington in it, but not really in the fight.
Yeah, I think there'll be 3 very excited little girls at home watching Stuart Egdahl.
There'll be more than that. There'll be 4 at home. There'll be Nana, Caitlin, Lillian and Freya. I know they're all at home supporting their dad, cheering him on.
I struggle with maths.
You struggle with maths. So there we go, your dad's got his thumb out the window, he's happy, he's having a good time, so get ready to cheer, girls, as he gets in the chase position. It will be Stu Egdahl to chase down Paul Cunnington for a spot in the Great 8, and look at Egdahl, look at the aggression on initiation.
But has to back out of it now, very shallow.
Cunnington's very deep, Egdahl did the right thing, he backed out of it, now starts to gain the proximity.
He's tucked in,
this.
Look at the transition.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe
Stuart
it?
Egdahl is
Door to door, wheel to wheel. How on earth did he pull that off here?
Can he stay in it? Can he stay in it? Egdahl needs to stay in this now. If he stays in it, this is a masterclass. Look at Stu Egdahl, wheel to wheel. He almost goes for an overtake.
Oh, contact! Rockingham on your feet. Round of applause. What about that? That is full-on commitment from Stuart Egdahl.
Wow, unbelievable stuff. Stu Egdahl just got himself caught up in the mix. Just got himself in the wrong part of the circuit, couldn't make the correction, but you know what, he'll be absolutely buzzing. Let's take a quick look at a replay of this phenomenal stuff. From the initiation, Stu Egdahl showed all the aggression. Look at this, see the door open, bam, gets on the line. Paul Cunnington on a good lead line, not the best. Look at the transition, back bumper to front bumper, bam, big dive on the door.
You could not fit a sheet of paper down there.
This is where it gets exciting though. Egdahl again now, look, bang, on the foot brake, makes a dive, stays on the side of Cunnington. Cunnington takes it to the wall, good lead. This is where it goes wrong. Egdahl gets himself mixed up, stays in it a little bit too much, should have backed off and transitioned.
And I think it could be his own undoing, but I mean, I haven't seen smiles on the judges' faces like that in a long time, and you know what, if you were sleeping, that certainly woke you up. We got a decision to Paul Cunnington or Stuart Egdahl, Kieran Hines, who's going through? Kieran Hines says Paul Cunnington, David Egan says Paul Cunnington, Ryan makes it official. Judges, pretty obvious, but what a battle, and what about that from Stuart Egdahl? You know, it's a shame to have to send him home.
We were watching that one like fans because Stuart Egdahl had no right to get away with the transition that he went towards for. It was incredible. And even at that point, he hits him and he stays in it, and we're thinking, Stuart Egdahl, this could be the greatest chase run this man has ever pulled out. And then at the end, he just decides to completely obstruct the lead car's transition. He just, I think, rush of blood to the head at that point. He said, well, if I've got away with all of this so far, I might get away with it again. He doesn't. Cunnington, just a passenger in that battle, essentially. But when he went to transition, he had nowhere to go. Hits Egdahl, that's 10-0, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff, and you know what, hats off to Stu Egdahl, best weekend he's had in a long time. Up next, it will be Philip Hayden to take on Danny Maguire, the little Ed Sheeran lookalike, to take on the man who owns a gym. You couldn't get two people further apart in the world, Eddie.
Well, they're right beside each other on the track right
now.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Oh, you know what I mean.
You know what I mean.
Don't be a David Egan, don't do a David Egan on me, off the line.
Here we go, Hayden to lead in Maguire. And Hayden doing a really nice job getting nice and deep into that outer zone, nailing this qualifying line, and we have talked about this young man and just what he's capable of. He has looked confident on this circuit, really seems to have this car dialed in perfectly for Rockingham, and Danny Maguire now tries to battle that car to bring some proximity as they go back through their own smoke, door to door, as Maguire drops a couple of wheels. It's been a tricky chase run from him, but he brings that proximity and the fight just through the final sections. Gotta say though, Ian, a monstrous lead run there from Philip Hayden.
Yeah, monstrous lead run there from Philip Hayden, and an equally as good a chase there from Danny Maguire. Made a few mistakes, you know, little wobbles there. He's making a lot of attacks in that battle, but fair play to Maguire. You know, for me, he's a very calculated driver. He sees there's going to be a mistake from the lead car. He slows down, composes himself, gets back into it. Let's see how he is in the lead position now as he sits out front, getting chased down by Philip Hayden. So we get the thumbs up, they are off the line. It will be Maguire to lead out Hayden for a spot in the Great 8. And look at this, Maguire fires that R34 Skyline into it. Can he hold it on the track? He certainly can. Unbelievable.
Incredible how he managed to keep that car on the circuit. And
this is the Danny Maguire we've been waiting to see. Oh, but a huge error there, big waver. Philip Hayden not really in the fight, Eddie.
No, sacrificing a little bit of line just to try and get himself back into this one now, but very narrow here from Danny Maguire as he misses that 60 clipping zone completely. Big gap opens up, but the lead line wasn't perfect, Ian.
No, it certainly wasn't the best, like you mentioned, Eddie, but no proximity from Philip Hayden. Could that overturn it? Or what did the judges make of that one? Just two more spots in the Great 8 remain. we are ready to move on to our final 4. So decisions in, Slidham left for Maguire, right for Hayden. Who takes it through? Kieran says Hayden. David says Hayden. Ryan says Hayden. It's unanimous. Philip Hayden gets the win. Danny Maguire out of the battle. Judges, we send it back to you.
Yeah, so I mean, it was close, but Philip, it was the cleanness of his driving. He had a great lead line, perfect. He took a little advantage from that. Danny's chase was good on proximity, but he was messy, scrappy. He put a couple of, well, 1 to 2 wheels off. Couldn't be exactly sure, but at least 1 wheel off, which drops him back a few points. They swap it round. Philip, a little bit out card, didn't have the greatest amount of proximity, but it was a good line, and Danny just not putting down the right lead run off of a couple of clips, numerous mistakes. It just wasn't enough, and that's Philip through.
So there we go, Philip Hayden taking the win and moving through to the Grade 8. Up next, Lewis Mitchell to take on Andrew Earl. Now, Lewis Mitchell, been silently taking people down, Eddie.
Yeah, look, well, I suppose, look, he's taken down Robin Neeson. We didn't see the best of Robin Neeson, but certainly looking comfortable out on this circuit. And, you know, and Andrew Earl's after taking down Seamus Walsh. Lewis Mitchell now would be looking at that as saying, you know what, can I take down a podium finisher? But very interestingly, we're looking to the start line and no sign of Andy Earl. So I'm wondering, is there problems? Is he tucked away just somewhere where we can't see? We usually have the cars ready to go, and the marshals are doing a little bit of sweeping. So could we see an automatic 5-minute rule called for Andy Earl? But there he is, just warming the tyres in the background.
Yeah, Andrew Earl, a late arrival to the line. So Lewis Mitchell pulls up to the line. He's ready to rock, and as Eddie just said.
Yeah, I think it could have been a case that they were just allowing the marshal just clear some debris off the start line just to make sure that these guys can get a smooth start, and Andy Earl in the background warming his tyres at that opportunity. So they get set to go. Miles gives them the starters orders. We are go for one more spot in the Grade 8, the last battle of the top 16. Lewis leads them in. Sketchy line from both drivers as Andy Earl now tucks down the inside, tries to get that proximity, but just loses to the ground on the transition, but puts the foot back to the floor and starts to close that gap once again. Lewis Mitchell certainly not nailing that qualifying line, but getting nice and wide there, comes off that wall zone a little bit too early and now is way out of position, causing big problems for Andy Earl in the chase position. Very scrappy run as they cross the line. Not the perfect lead and certainly not the perfect chase. But although we do say, Ian, you can't have a good chase without a good lead.
No, this is right, Eddie, and as you mentioned, a few mistakes there from Lewis Mitchell. Andrew Earl doing everything he could do in that chase position. Not sure which way the judges are going to score that. Definitely have a little deliberation as we await to get those guys back to the line. And they have swapped around it, obviously. Now it will be Andrew Earl to lead out Lewis Mitchell for the final spot in the Grade 8, as Eddie said. Who is going to take it through? Well, let's find out. They're off the line. Earl to lead out Mitchell as Earl pulls a sizable gap on initiation straight away. Oh, an understeer there from Mitchell. Mitchell now losing some ground. Earl is absolutely driving away. What has Lewis Mitchell got? Oh, and Earl almost takes it to the wall. And this is huge separation, Eddie. This is not what Lewis Mitchell needed.
No, it's huge separation, but I don't think Andy Earl was on the perfect line there. I mean, we saw how deep he got into that wall zone. Certainly carrying a lot of pace throughout the circuit. I don't think he'd be penalised too heavily for his line, mind you, but just something that I did note as he came by the grandstand there. But maybe Andrew Earl just realising, you know, coming to the realisation that if he didn't start to, you know, get his head in the game here, that it could be a case of end of season and end of championship. We got a result from our judges. Who's going through? Andy Earl, slide him left, right for Lewis Mitchell. Kieran Hines says Andrew Earl. David Egan and Ryan follow suit. They make it official. We go back to the judges. Andy Earl getting the call.
Yeah, it was actually there was so many errors. In many ways, we were just running out of ink here. But what actually happened was Lewis's style is just, he's quite hesitant on the throttle, and it's very difficult to chase, because when he sort of gets to a point where he's not too sure what to do, he comes off throttle, sort of stalls up and gets himself back corrected again. Very difficult in the chase position to foresee that happening in front of you. So it was kind of messy, but then it looked to me like Lewis Mitchell just towards the end just completely spun out of control. So a 10-0 on the second run. We didn't have to decipher too much after that. That was all she wrote.
So there we go. Decision is in, and Earl takes the win and moves through. Up next, Ryan Caldwell to take on Tomas Falvey, 2 S15s, both piloted by Irishmen.
Both budget spec cars.
Yeah, cheap builds.
Yeah.
Off the line.
Both really badly presented.
Look at this.
Falvey. Yeah, Falvey knows he's got to pull up his socks here. He's got to throw it in hard against Caldwell, otherwise he's wasting his time. Caldwell drops the wheel though, and Falvey right there with him. Look at the smoke these two create. This is going to be a problem when they come back around. Guaranteed when they go to throw toward that ball again. Look at this from Falvey, bringing it to the young gun, keeping himself in this one. And this is the driving we haven't seen from Falvey all weekend so far. They come back through the cloud of smoke. Where's the wall? Where are the cars? Who knows? As they are just absolutely guessing at that point. And Falvey, for me, doing a really good job of keeping in this one and giving himself a chance.
Falvey did an amazing job there in the chasing position, but he had a very good lead to follow. You know, you can't take it away from Ryan Caldwell. That lead was amazing. First place qualifier, 94-point run. Does it get much better than that, Eddie?
No, it certainly doesn't. Now, is that a problem for Tomas Falvey? Oh,
no. I'll tell you what he does. He stops there and he radios his spot.
And then
pulls back to
lets the marshals think that they need help. They run to him and he's like, just kidding.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
So Ryan Caldwell now sits in the chase position as Tomas Falvey leads him out for a spot in the final four. Look at Caldwell, though, right on the door of Tomas Falvey's Drift Games S15. Almost contact as they come into the first wall run. Transition back. Caldwell giving Falvey some room to manoeuvre. Falvey on a very good lead. But Caldwell right on the side of Tomas Falvey's car. Unbelievable.
Look at this
from Caldwell.
From Ryan Caldwell. Incredible stuff.
Caldwell gives Falvey some room to manoeuvre, then makes a last dive as they both take it to the wall and across the line.
If there was any doubt whatsoever after the first run, it has been completely just dealt with by Ryan Caldwell. A masterclass, an absolute masterclass from that young man.
And Tomas Falvey gets out of it. Give him a round of applause, guys. Tomas Falvey and Ryan Caldwell.
And let's not take anything away from Tomas Falvey here. He put on a hell of a show. You need two partners to tango like that, and Tomas Falvey did his share of the business.
And look at this, Tomas Falvey pointing to his driver's door saying, look what you've done.
Yeah.
You're paying for that out of your paper round money, young man. Look at that. Absolutely chewed the side out of Tomas Falvey's car, did Ryan Caldwell.
Yeah, and Tomas Falvey, he's on a very tight budget. He wouldn't have a whole lot of money to try and fix this car.
Yeah, look at that, our camera lady just trying to get down there. Look at the wing. The wing is just absolutely chewed to bits when Ryan Caldwell sat that front wheel on there and absolutely pushed Tomas Falvey around.
Falvey looks a little bit like a stormtrooper there, just the helmet left on.
So as judges are deliberating this one, not as clear-cut maybe as what you'd think.
Yeah, you just never know.
No, you don't. You never know. It could go either way.
I mean, Kieran Hines has never even driven a drift car, so what would he know?
So, replay just coming up for you guys at home. And look at this, for you guys watching at home. Tomorrow, if you're in attendance, you will have a big screen here for you to see these replays. So maybe judges seeing something we didn't see before, Eddie.
I think what it is that Dave just misses being a commentator, so he just wanted to take an opportunity to commentate on the run to the other guys and go, see how much better I am than the other two guys over there. And, yeah. Kieran goes, yeah. And then Ryan just disagrees with him because he's grumpy, you know. Yeah. So that's basically what it is. Tomas Falvey laughing away down there, smiling his face.
He's had a good weekend. He's made it through.
Always stressing, you know, always worrying about things. Takes life a little bit too serious, does Tomas Falvey. But yeah, this one's obviously very close because the judge is taking a long time to call it. What do you guys think? Who thinks Ryan Caldwell took the win? 2 people, okay. Who thinks Tomas Falvey took the win? Oh, a few Falvey fans out there. A few Falvey fans. Who wants to see them go one more time?
Oh, everybody.
Yeah,
everybody.
So judges calling for a replay of the first run. So Ian, is it something that we missed here?
Potentially. Listen, I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you, Eddie. I see a clean lead and a clean chase, and then a clean lead and a clean chase. It was, I didn't see nothing that really stood out for me that was a big error, you know. I mean, I see a replay though for the judges. This is the lead of Ryan Caldwell on the chase of Falvey. Falvey throws it in. Falvey stays on track. Just one wheel drop there from
but did it cost Falvey a little bit of ground as well?
But Falvey stays in it. Very good lead so far up to this point from Caldwell. Caldwell doing a good job. Falvey makes a nice dive across the circuit. Still on good angle. They get into smoke nice and close to the wall. Good transition back again. Falvey, perfect transition. He does cut that outer zone. He does drop a little bit back on proximity. Is that enough to overturn it?
Okay, it looks as though they have finished their deliberations, Ian, and we may have a result for this one. A spot, remember, in the final 4 up for grabs here, and of course, 2 shots at the podium and an opportunity to battle it out with the pros in tomorrow's main event. And of course, tickets available on the gate, standing room only here tomorrow, but we are promised blue skies and sunshine just like we've had today. 17 degrees here at Rockingham. It's the place to be, the final drift event you will ever see at this circuit. Make sure you're a part of it, get yourself down here, and as we say goodbye to what's been a very good home to British drifting for the last couple of years.
Yeah, Rockingham Motor Speedway hosted many events here for the British Drift Championship. Not only that, been a learning place and a proving ground for many of our championships, Drift Cup and the Rockingham Drift Academy. Rockingham Drift Days as well, so it's a shame to lose it, but decision is in. Who's going to take it through to the final 4? Falvey on the left, Caldwell on the right. Ryan says Ryan Caldwell. David says Caldwell. Kieran makes it unanimous. Ryan Caldwell gets the win. Falvey gets knocked out of competition. Judges, not an easy one for you there.
Really tough call, and you know, we had to break it down to that's, you know, Tomas Falvey there put on an incredible fight. I've never seen him drive in the chase position that well. And on any other day, I think Tomas Falvey would have taken that one. But Ryan Caldwell's chase run was exceptional. It was down, yes, to the fact that Tomas Falvey put in a great lead run, but he was so close. He only was a couple of feet of the track that he wasn't absolutely pinned to the door. He modulated the throttle perfectly the whole way around, never let Falvey get away from him. And Falvey probably even had a little bit of a better lead run than Caldwell, but just for me, with the first run we had an advantage Falvey, I had an advantage Falvey 6-4, but Caldwell stepped it up 7-3 on the second for me with an exceptional chase run. And I mean, it was close to a one more time, but technically when you break it down, I felt Caldwell had done enough on the chase run.
So there you go, Ryan Caldwell taking the winner, moving through to the final 4. That's one spot in the final 4 taken. Who's going to take the next one? Alistair Sutton or Hayden Cruikshank? Well, 200 horsepower to take down 600 horsepower.
But I think what's very interesting here, Ian, is that, you know, little has separated these two guys all season. They sit 4th and 6th in the championship, and little separated them in qualifying this morning as they qualified 4th and 5th respectively. Alistair Sutton comes in as the underdog with the lower horsepower, but he sits higher in the championship and he scores a better score in qualifying. What can he do in the lead position? Oh, it's a big error from Hayden Cruikshank as he attempts to go close, but Alistair Sutton takes it right out to the wall, just what you'd expect in the lead position from this young man who has just shown us his ability time after time all season long, and once again doing just that. Cruikshank now drops off the pace a little bit as he puts the foot to floor, and it just goes to show you that even with that power advantage, if you can't get on the line as well as the guy in the lead position, it can matter very little.
Exactly that, Eddie, and I mentioned it a million times today already. Alistair Sutton's line driving is just something is so good, it's unbelievable. That guy literally, if you painted a line on the floor, could drive it day in and day out. It's just exceptional, and like you say, a few errors there from Hayden Cruikshank in that chase position, and Alistair Sutton's good lead opened the door for Cruikshank to get nice and close, but a few errors emerged, and for me, advantage to Sutton, but we know he's got the lower horsepower car. He's going to struggle to keep up with Cruikshank now as they fire it into the first turn. And we can see now the power difference starting to make a big effect as Sutton falls behind, has to shallow up.
Oh, but Cruikshank way out of position there as he has to back out to avoid going into that wall, Ian.
Yeah, huge error there for Cruikshank, like you say, washes way off of the right line, gets himself back into it now, but this looked like it could be Sutton's as Sutton fires that car through the final 2 outer zones to the wall and across the line. Hayden Cruikshank and Alistair Sutton, ladies and gentlemen. So the result is in. Who is going to take it through to the final 4? Hayden Cruikshank or Alistair Sutton? Kieran says Alistair Sutton. David says Sutton, and Ryan makes it unanimous. Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Alistair Sutton gets the win and advances through.
Yeah, pretty obvious there. The you know, perfect lead run from Alistair Sutton. That big error from Hayden Cruikshank as he takes it towards the wall. Sutton moves on. We have 2 drivers in our final 4 and a mouth-watering final 4 battle with Sutton and Caldwell to look forward to. But we need 2 more drivers, and first up to try and get themselves into one of those spots, Lee Scott to take on Paul Cunnington. Paul Cunnington overcoming that incredible battle with Stuart Egdal. Can we see him overcome the champion, the big dog, Lee Scott?
You told me earlier that no one could beat Lee Scott. You said he was unbeatable.
I never said anything of the sort, but you're right, he is unbeatable. He is an incredible human being. And my crush.
But look at this. As Lee Scott absolutely flies away. Paul Cunnington having a task and a half on his hands to try and keep up. Lee Scott squeezes the accelerator and just absolutely drives away from Paul Cunnington. Now the smoke becoming an issue, but he absolutely times the wall run perfectly. As Scott gets into the outer zones one more time and takes it home, Paul Cunnington finishes up the run. But Lee Scott, an absolute masterclass of lead driving.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Lee Scott, I don't know what to say. Just, there's levels to this, and he is on another level.
Should be banned, him and that James Dean fella.
Yeah, James Dean should be taken out of all competitive drifting from now on, just to give the rest of the world a chance to catch up.
I think the rest of the world would like that, yeah.
Give him like a decade off.
I think Lee Scott is going to become that person.
Yeah.
I do believe it. I believe that Lee Scott is going to become the next Dwayne McKeever, and I think Dwayne McKeever's just going to go places as well. It's just these guys are phenomenal.
Do you know what place he's going to go? He's going to go to Europe.
Yeah. I'd love to see Lee Scott out there, big, incredible. On the line, Paul Cunnington now to lead out Lee Scott for a spot in the final 4. And look at that, almost contact, as Lee Scott puts that E46 on the back bumper of Paul Cunnington's S14. Look at that, Paul Cunnington sets his car perfectly, but Scott right with him. Door on door as they transition in the middle of the circuit. Scott giving Cunnington some room to manoeuvre. He knows he's slightly on the wrong line. A little wobble from Cunnington. Now Scott finds the door one more time. Squeezes and gives Cunnington a nudge. Gives Cunnington a nudge and pushes him off track as Lee Scott finishes up the run.
Now, the question to be asked here, Ian, is did Cunnington slow too much, or was Scott over-aggressive? It is a slowing part of the circuit, so Scott would have to be expecting some sort of slowing. But then the other question is as well, was there sufficient contact to cause Cunnington to go off circuit in the manner that he went off?
Well, we are going to see a replay for you guys watching at home. Unfortunately, you guys in attendance will be able to watch it on a big screen tomorrow. And look at this. I mean, it's a significant amount of contact. That's a big hit from Lee Scott. Cunnington is right to be slowing there. That section of the circuit is a de-acceleration
But is he slowing too much is the question.
How do you class slowing too much in a de-acceleration zone?
Because you still have to be able to have enough momentum to get yourself out to the clipping zone.
Well, oh, look at Eddie Power getting all sophisticated. 25th millionth event this year.
This is what I do. Whether I'm right or wrong, Ian.
I'm going to go with the fact that Lee Scott was over-aggressive.
Okay, so you're good cop, I'm bad cop.
I'm just going what I can say. We won't know ever if Paul Cunnington had the momentum to carry on the run.
No, and I think, look,
I think Lee Scott
you got to respect the fact that as well, you know, with a car on angle like it is, any sort of...
if you look, Paul Cunnington is on throttle at that point.
Yeah, and it looks as though he's left with nowhere to go.
So we're just having a massive deliberation. It's a complete split judging tower. Look at this. Watch Paul Cunnington's car. Look, when he watch smoke, he's on throttle at this point when he's hit by Lee Scott. I think Lee Scott was just being a little bit over. So judges deliberating this one, Eddie. This is not only us as fans and, you know, fans of both sides of the
to be honest, for me, I think, you know, I think where he's off throttle there is
too much.
Too much and too early.
It's a very, very difficult one. Even our judges are struggling to split this one. This one's going to come down to the wire. Who is going to take it through to the final four?
This is one where the keyboard warriors will come out later on this evening and go,
no.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Oh,
they go, what they do is they sit at home, they don't come and support the series, and then they'll tear it apart and say, those judges don't know what they're talking about. And it was biased because whoever goes through was from Cork.
Right, got you.
That's the way it is.
Oh, because there's 2 Irish judges and 1 English one. That's why Lee Scott might get the win.
Yeah, see, Vaughan getting juniors from Cork, so that's why he won the final against Freddie Asbo last week, and that's why another Cork man won the championship in FD. So here we go. Result is in. The keyboard warriors await who's going through, Paul Cunnington or Lee Scott. Kieran, David and Ryan. Kieran Hines says Paul Cunnington. David Egan says Paul Cunnington, and Ryan makes it unanimous. Paul Cunnington goes through. Rise, round of applause for the 2018 champ Lee Scott. He bows out. Judges, what the hell happened there?
Well, Eddie, I'll tell you what the hell happened there. Lee Scott, I think, and from my perspective anyway, just got too aggressive. You got to look at the different pace level on both cars. Important to note throughout both battles, one of those cars is running road tyres, one's running semi-slicks. So obviously Lee Scott, when he picks up pace, he picks it up a lot faster than Paul does. And as they pull on that, Lee had sort of lost a little bit of ground at the start. He's gaining very, very fast. And then Paul is allowed to decelerate when he comes towards clipping zone 5. That's allowed, that's a deceleration zone. As he decelerates, he cannot, I think, decelerate as quickly as Lee does because he doesn't have the same grip level. So he washes a little bit. And as he's washing, Lee hits him. And it's not just about Lee hitting him. He hits him so severely with the front and back end of the car. He's almost overtaking him. That if it was a nudge or, you know, if something a little bit smaller, we could kind of analyze that. But he hits him so much on the front wheel, that hits the front wheel. We looked at it to see was Paul, you know, could he have continued? He couldn't because the front wheel actually got jammed. Lee had hit that. It put him off the track. And there you go. Paul Cunnington takes the win from our perspective.
Thanks, Dave. And I mean, I'm not going to bang on about it, but I explained that perfectly. Before Dave Egan had even explained it, I was like the 4th judge. You know, like the...
Oh, God.
Just... So, Eddie, I mean,
do you know what? I'm glad there's going to be a break from this for a while. So, Paul Cunnington moves on.
And up next, it will be Philip Hayden to take on Andrew Earl for the final spot in the final 4. Who's going to take it? Philip Hayden in that little M3-powered E36 compact, or Andrew Earl in the PS13? They're off the line. It will be Hayden to lead, Earl to chase.
Yeah, and Hayden's looked invincible so far today, Ian, as well. He's looked so confident. Drops a wheel, though. Early, big tag in the wall from Philip Hayden, but keeps in it now. Andy Earl just keeping himself a safe distance behind, nice and poised, not making a whole lot of errors. Now starts to apply that pressure, turn the screw a little bit as he goes hunting for the door of that little E36 compact BMW. Hayden, though, doing a nice job keeping that car on that wide qualifying line. He's looked ever so comfortable, does have those couple of errors, but Andy Earl making an error just before we crossed the line, a bit of a straighten from him. So this one, a little bit untidy at points from both drivers, but a lot of really, really confident and steady driving there as well.
Yeah, very, very good lead. That's what I was going to say. You know, the lead from Philip Hayden is just unbelievable. It looks like he's got that car absolutely dialed. And yeah, Andrew, like you say, made a couple of mistakes and that big error just before the finish line. That's going to play a big part in this battle. If Earl now can put down a good lead, you can almost guarantee that Philip Hayden is going to be on the back bumper of that PS13. So they are on the line, ready to rock and roll. It will be Earl to lead out Hayden for a spot in the final four, and a little bit of separation opens up as Earl fires in that PS13. And look at this, Hayden dives to the back bumper, but Earl squeezes the accelerator and starts to drive away now. There, big separation, but a wobble from Earl. As Earl starts to pull some serious ground away from Philip Hayden now. Can Philip Hayden stay on a good line as they transition into the second to last outer zone? Hayden drops wheels over the edge of the circuit. I don't even know, Eddie.
You know what? What I'm noticing here is a lot of pace in this PS13 of Andy Earl. And when I think back to round 4, I may be mistaken, but I do believe he was carrying serious pace as well, and then was forced to change to a different size of tyre, and then all of a sudden he lost all that pace. Here we go. Judges' scores are in. Andrew Earl, Philip Hayden, who's going through? Kieran Hines says the final spot in the final 4. 1 vote for Andy Earl. David Egan makes it 2. Ryan makes it unanimous. Andy Earl is going through to the final 4. Round of applause for Philip Hayden. His weekend and championship ends there, but Andy Earl moving along.
Yeah, so I mean, we had it fairly even in the first run there. Good lead run from Philip. Wheels, it was a wheel off between 2 and 3, and he hit the wall really hard at clip 3, which adjusted his angle, but not necessarily his line. Andrew stayed with the chase was okay. He straightened up a little bit between 7 and 8, but that ended with a fairly even run in the first. On the second run, Andrew Earl's lead was good, hit every clip, pulled a gap away from Philip, and also Philip put wheels off at clip 7, which kind of just sealed it for Andrew Earl to go through.
So there we go, Andrew Earl taking the win and moving through to the final 4. And we're with our good friend Nathan. Nathan, you've got someone in the pits who's very important.
Hey guys, so I'm down here in the pits. We're going to have a little chat with Lee Scott, who I would have thought is probably feeling a little bit bittersweet. First of all, I guess we'll chat about the battle that we just had. Didn't go your way. Thoughts on what just transpired within that battle there?
Saying out in the first run, and everyone went all well. Good jump on your man, and I heard in the radio, and the boys at the radio were spotting for me. Said the lead in the first run, and changed around and chased position. I pushed hard, got down into a slowing area, and took yours to sort of collide it, and your man pulled off track. It's just the way drifting goes, boys. But claimed the championship today, and I'm more than happy. And first year competing on a full year or BDC, and won the championship, so I couldn't ask for much more. Just like to thank all the team, and especially Turbo, who's at home. He's helped me all year. Just couldn't make it this weekend, but it's just been an unbelievable year for me and all the team. So hopefully maybe come back next year and do the same.
It's a lot to take in there. I'm just letting all that sink in. But let's move on and not talk about all of that. Let's go on to the good stuff. You're the championship winner. You just won. You got to be feeling fantastic about that. Like you said, I think you just said, it's your first time here at the BDC. You are the champion. What's next for you?
All this depends down. This is the final round. This is just finished me for the year. So just sit down with all the boys and just see what's going to happen next year, see what sponsors we can get on board. Hopefully I can get enough on board to compete in BDC, ADC, or wherever I can go. Like, I'm happy to travel anywhere, but it's just see where the big picture is, and wherever it is, we'll go.
Well, if you ever travel to Sheffield, I'll be sure to let you stay over. Lee Scott, it's been a pleasure. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nathan. He'll get it, Eddie. It took me a while.
Yeah. but look, it's important to say what a worthy champion, and you know, even if it is difficult to understand what he's saying at the best of times, a very, very worthy champion. And you know what? He goes out in top 8, but that means we are going to have a guaranteed new winner of this championship. Could it be Ryan Caldwell for the first time this year, or could Alistair Sutton rather, spoil the party? They are on the line and ready to go for our final 4. Who's going to take that spot in the final? Here we go. Caldwell to lead him in. Sutton in the chase position in the severely underpowered BMW. Sutton getting lost in the smoke a little bit as Caldwell takes it out to the wall. And now the gap starts to open up, and you can just see how much of a disadvantage Sutton is at, and the level of difference between these two cars. Certainly, in terms of ability, these two drivers very, very similar, Ian, but the machinery making a big difference there, and Sutton with no real answer for Caldwell's pace.
No answer whatsoever, Eddie, and you know what, you nailed it on the head there. The driving from both those guys phenomenal, just a complete separation in machinery, and unfortunately for Alistair Sutton, who just didn't have the right tool for the job.
Well, he's got a chance now to try and pull something out of the bag from the lead position, and this is going to be important because he's going to open the door for Caldwell to put in a really good chase run. Could we see Caldwell, though, make mistakes in that chase position, get a little bit over aggressive like we saw Lee Scott just do, and could we see an error forced? Right now Caldwell staying nicely poised, not being overly aggressive, but just right there ready to pounce. And yeah, look, an absolute masterclass here from Caldwell, mirroring every single move that Alistair Sutton makes, and as they cross the line, you got to say Caldwell doing exactly what he needed to do over the course of those 2 runs.
Yeah, textbook lead and a chase there from both those guys, as we see Alistair Sutton's car just start overheating on the start line. So it could look like the end of the weekend there for that car, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, don't take anything away from both those guys. The lead and chase was just incredible. But decision is in, Eddie. Who is going to take it through to the final? Who is going to go to the 3rd or 4th place playoff? Sludham left for Alistair Sutton, right for Ryan Caldwell. Kieran, David and Ryan make it unanimous. Ryan Caldwell gets the win and advances through. Unfortunately, Alistair Sutton bows out of competition. He will now have to try and get that car fixed in time to do battle in the 3rd or 4th place playoff, Eddie.
Yeah, and grab your cups because the water's boiled, and unfortunate to see that. And hopefully Alistair Sutton is able to get that car back in the grid for the 3rd, 4th place playoff. But Ryan Caldwell is our first driver into the final. Could we see him top that podium for the first time this year? So just a reminder that if you're sitting at home and you're enjoying what you're seeing on your screens, that why not get down here to Rockingham Motor Speedway tomorrow for the final round of the season, and also the final time we will ever see drifting on this very prestigious circuit. I mean, it's very sad to see this this facility be demolished, and you know, no more motorsport here at all. But you know, we're going to give it one hell of a send-off here tomorrow. That is guaranteed. That championship still to be decided. Dwayne McKeever, Martin Richards, they've been battling now, but we've added in a few you know, surprise guests as well. Mitch Larner's here. He's travelled all the way from Australia to be here. Pete Nielsen's going to be battling out. We've got a whole host of other drivers here coming here this weekend. Connor Shanahan is here, I believe.
We've thrown in
AKA Harry Houdini after his recent escapades.
We've thrown in a whole host of drivers into our Pro-Am and Pro Grid, and we see some of those guys not even make the grade to go to show you the level of competition. But yeah, tomorrow is an absolute stacked grid, and rightly so, like Eddie said, if you are local, or not even if you're local, Eddie flew 12 hours to be here. I mean, I didn't think Dublin...
From a different time zone.
I didn't think Dublin was that far away, but apparently it is. Eddie flew 12 hours to be here this weekend. I mean, I only drove an hour and 45 minutes, but that's far enough. And get Get yourself in your car, come along. Like Eddie said, final ever competitive drift event here at Rockingham Motor Speedway, and we're going to send it off with one hell of a bang. We've got an absolutely stacked grid. Michelana, like you say, all the way from the Thunder from down under, all the way from Australia coming over, bringing his own car. And let me tell you something now. Me and Dave Egan stood on the balcony earlier and watched his first practice run. He absolutely annihilated the lead car. Like, he was glued to the door and smoked this place out.
I guarantee you, if you go and talk to Mitch, he will tell you that as well, because the guy is just 100% belief in his ability, and he just, no matter what circuit you bring it to, he is confident that he can just nail it first run in the back. There's no sighting lap, nothing. He'd just go,
And not only that,
he's a real talent.
We've brought a lot of guys over from Ireland and other countries that people have been asking to see in the UK. Alan Hines is over here, Peter Nielsen is over here, Shanahan's back. Those guys are on fire. Martin Richards has completely rebuilt that Driftworks R32, and him and Dwayne McKeever went out earlier and had a twin battle. Listen, all I'm saying is it could go either way, the championship. It's not done yet.
It's certainly not done, and you know, there's no guarantees and in this sport whatsoever. Oh, it sounds like Nathaniel is down in the pits. Nathaniel, come in, Nathaniel.
I'm here. Listen, I wanted to... Hey, how are you? It's Matt Stevenson, good guy. Not really. I just wanted to take a second to talk about one of the fans. Now, we're having the battles down to the grey, and that's exciting, but if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't be here. And so, do you remember at round 4, Sandra Coulson, the old lady that challenged me to a battle? Well, she's sent me a message, which I'm going to read to you now. This isn't a lie, it's right there. It says this. My dearest honorary great-great-grandson. Man, she's old. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to come to the grand finale. I have a very poorly dog at the moment. Love dogs, I feel for you. I'm gutted. I was only coming to see you. Yeah, exactly. And maybe a little bit of drifting. Please promise me when you take over the BDC, you will offer a job to your mate Eddie No Power. Fantastic. Even if it's just ironing your jeans. He's not got enough in his head to even do that. Your favorite granny, despite putting a dog before you, I remain your #1 fan. Well, Sandra, we just wanted to give you a big shout out from the BDC here. Wish the best of health to your dog, but you have not turned up, and we did have a battle scheduled, so you are a loser. I did beat you. You're lucky you've still got both hips intact, but hey, there's always next year. I love you, Sandra, from the BDC. Thanks, guys.
So there you go. From Nathaniel, straight from the heart. And
Nathaniel, is that what you're calling him now?
Yeah, yeah, okay, absolutely. Cool. I will say though, that granny, we watched her drive out of Three Sisters
in an R34 Skyline. Yeah, there was no joke.
It was no joke.
And Nathan's face, literally, his jaw hit the floor.
Yeah. So you know, it's a shame that we didn't get her out on track to do some donuts.
Exactly
but,
that. So as you can see, we have got
from our grid girl, Malx.
We have got Paul Cunnington at the moment on a 5-minute rule. Andrew Earls made his way to the line, but we have got Paul Cunnington on a 5-minute rule. So we are going to keep you entertained for the next couple of minutes while we wait for Cunnington to make his way back to the start line. So like I have been saying all day, don't forget to get yourself along to the Drift Games shop. Directly behind where me and Eddie are sitting in the tower, you could go over there, see Jess and Jordan. Those guys will hook you up with some amazing clothing. I keep saying it, I don't stress it enough, because people always ask, where can I get one of them hoodies? Well, you're too late, you've missed it, because they were done and dusted, and you can't get them anymore. So,
well, you can now. You can now,
but you can't.
But like
Monday you can't.
At 6 o'clock tomorrow, you won't be able to get them.
Not only that, you can get all the Drift Games merchandise over there. Those guys are super cool and friendly. They're doing some deals. Go over and see them. Dave Egan, you want to have a word with me? Is it about next year, or I know you're leaving, but I mean.
Yeah, good riddance.
It's a bit early for next year. No, it's just been, you know, obviously this is my last event running the championship. We'll announce the new owner on Monday. Publicly, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with it. I mean, it's clear to see you have a huge amount of talent in the UK that needs that nurturing. We're getting some great battles out here. Guys running walls. It's come a long way since the first event I've done. A lot more risk in the championship, and I think it's really helped a lot of these guys. And we've got new stars coming through from the Drift Cup Championship all the time, new names. Like Paul, you see on the camera now, guys coming through, only qualifying a couple of rounds ago for this license and already, you know, taking down Lee Scott, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of hope in the future, and the sport is moving very, very fast. I think some of the conversations I've been privy to of what's planned for BDC next year, it's far more exciting than I would have expected. It's going to be a great little tussle between Ireland and the UK. Two new championships next year going head to head. We might even have a couple of events head to head. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a pleasure to be part of it for 3 years. Tomorrow is my last day at the head of the championship, and I think it's going to be a cracker. If the weather stays like this, we've got a really varied grid. The guys have been going hard in practice. We got the best of BDC, the best of IDC, Australians and Americans and everything thrown in the mix. It's exactly what I wanted the championship to be 3 years ago, and it's going to finish on a major high. We've sold out the grandstand for tomorrow, record pre-sales. I think if you miss it tomorrow, you're going to really miss it. A historic day, not just an event in the BDC, but a day that will never be recreated again, because this is the last time we'll be here. The last time you'll see many of those drivers here. I think with a lot of moving on to Europe in the future, so it's a really good opportunity to come down and see the best of the best. You can get your tickets on the gate all day. Just roll down, you know, pack the sandwiches, come down and watch some great action here. And we're going to miss this place. I think everyone in UK drifting is, but a lot of people panic when you lose a venue, and people say, oh, you know, you lose a venue in the UK and it's all over, it's all doom and gloom on the internet. But we've had one venue in Ireland for the last 5 years and we've done okay. So I think that pushes the community a lot more to be together, to push them, I mean, anything's possible with a drift championship if you've got the support. If you've got the support of the fans, the support of the drivers, the support of the sponsors, it doesn't matter how many tracks you have, doesn't matter anything. Once you've got that support, and that support gets stronger and stronger, the championship gets stronger and stronger. And I think that driver grid that is present now in the UK are really ready to step up and go out there and prove to the world that this is one of the great nations for drifting. I've played my small part for the last 3 years. I've come full circle, I've commentated, I've run it, and I finished it this year judging. It's been a real pleasure. I think all the guys here beside me have had a great time doing it. We're looking forward to just having a party tomorrow and enjoying it. And as I like to thank everybody from my perspective who's done a phenomenal job of supporting it, being positive. We've done some crazy events, and we were only saying today, you know, when we said we were doing Driftland, people said it wouldn't work, and it became such a fan favorite. Three Sisters, similar to here in Rockingham. When we announced it at the start, people said, you know, oh, it'll never work in the skid pad here in Rockingham, and we put on some of the best events, I think, in BDC history here. So I think a lot of the naysayers need to start turning that positive cheek and say, if we push in behind this thing, it's going to work. And I really do believe that next year is just the beginning of bigger things. So really excited, looking forward to seeing some finals here now as well. The driving's been excellent today. We've really enjoyed it. Big task on everyone's hand taking down Ryan Caldwell, I think, at this stage. But it goes to show with Paul later on, you go into a battle with the favourite, Lee Scott goes out, anything can happen. And that's the great thing about Pro-Am, new heroes every weekend. So we're looking forward to it. I'd like to thank everybody for all their help for the last couple of years. It's an emotional weekend, but we're having fun with it. And I think even the gods themselves want to see this event end on a high, with the weather being ridiculous for October. I mean, when this was put on the calendar, we expected, you know, people to be having to be thawed out in the grandstand halfway through, but it's really been an amazing day. Tomorrow promise even better weather. It's going to be awesome. Make sure you get down.
Thanks, Dave, and I think I speak for everybody when I say we can't thank you enough for what you've done for UK drifting. It's been an amazing, emotional trip. So we are just waiting to find out what exactly is going on in the pits, and as Dave mentioned earlier, we've got a whole host of guys coming over from all over the world for tomorrow.
So just we're being informed by the marshals, just from our acting as head marshal here. So essentially that Paul, with that collision with Lee Scott, is unable to fix the steering on his car, therefore is unable to take part in his top four battle. Really heart-wrenching stuff for him there, as it really is not the way he wanted to finish the weekend, meaning he hands third place to Alistair Sutton, as he's not able to contend that battle, and it looks like we will see Andy Earl and Ryan Caldwell going into the final.
Thanks, Dave. So there you go, Eddie. Drama unfolding even at the final round of the championship, and what a way to end it. It's going to be Caldwell to take on Earl for the first and second spots on the podium.
Yeah, so look, that just leaves us with the final battle of the day.
Yeah, the final battle of the day, which will be Ryan Caldwell and Andrew Earl. So Ryan Caldwell and Andrew Earl. Dave?
Just to clarify, because I love clarifying, it's one of my favourite pastimes. Just why people might be questioning why we can't allow another 5-minute rule for Paul Cunnington. You only get one 5-minute rule from the top four to the final, so he used that 5-minute rule to try and get into the top four. He now has no more 5-minute rules left. That's why he can't call another one for the third and fourth place battle. Clarified.
clarified. Thanks, mate. Thank you. So on the line, we do have Ryan Caldwell sitting there waiting to take on Andrew Earl. Andrew Earl and Ryan Caldwell to do battle for the first and second step on the podium.
You have to remember as well, Andrew Earl would have just had his car set up in anticipation of a battle with Paul Cunnington, who he probably would be expecting to maybe be a little bit slower. So taking that opportunity just to move away and get himself reset to go up against Caldwell. A guaranteed second podium for Andrew Earl this season, a guaranteed second podium for Ryan Caldwell. Can both of these drivers go one better than what they've already managed and top the second place that they've achieved? Could we see? Well, we will see a brand new winner of a BDC Pro-Am event. Which one's going to take home the top step on the podium? Two drivers from Ireland coming here to the UK, battling it out in the final ever Pro-Am competition in Rockingham Motor Speedway. We are almost ready to go. Caldwell and Earl, they've both looked really fast all the way through the competition today. Which one is going to come out on top? Side by side as they come down the straight. Caldwell throws it in. Earl in behind him, loses a little bit of ground, but makes the dive onto the door. Caldwell brings it out to the wall. They switch it back. Caldwell right out to the wall again. Now Andrew Earl starts to put the foot down. Starts to bring the fight as he looks to go to the door. Could he win it? Could he take the top step? Could he spoil the party for Caldwell? Caldwell laying down an absolute clinic of a lead run, but Earl right there with him as he crosses the line. Rockingham makes some noise for your finalists.
Incredible stuff, Eddie, as you walked us through that one. I just wanted to take a little seat back and watch that. That was unbelievable stuff, and Andrew Earl put on a real good fight there, but that was helped along by the perfect lead run from Ryan Caldwell. Ryan Caldwell doing everything he could in that lead position. So now we swap them around. It will be Andrew Earl to lead out Ryan Caldwell for the final Pro-Am run of the year. Who's going to take it to the podium? The first step awaits Earl to lead out Caldwell. Oh, and look at this from Caldwell. Almost contact on the back bumper. Oh, not as deep in. Oh, and Ryan Caldwell pushing Andrew Earl through the first turn. Caldwell now makes another dive, but he's offline ever so slightly. Andrew Earl has to waver on the steering to get it back online. Caldwell now starts to draw him back in again. Earl fires it to the wall. Caldwell steps away, gives him some room to manoeuvre. Can he make a dive? He certainly can, as he pushes onto the door of Andrew Earl across the line. Rockingham makes some noise for Andrew Earl and Ryan Caldwell. Eddie Power.
Yeah, judges' headsets come off, Ian, and I think that means one thing and one thing only. It looks as though we have a decision and we are ready for our podium ceremony. Judges confirm it. I'm going to say goodbye to you, Ian, and you're going to go down and be master of our ceremonies to hand out the prizes for the final time. And guys, as they get out of their cars, give them a round of applause. Your two finalists, Ryan Caldwell and Andrew Earl. We have a decision. We're going to hand it down to Nathaniel Black. Nathaniel, over to you.
Thank you, Power. Okay, what a day we've had here. The crowd are making their way down, electrifying atmosphere. It's been a fantastic day of drifting, but there's one thing left, and that's to find out who is going home with the marbles. Andrew Earl or Ryan Caldwell. Well, as Ian makes his way down, the guys are going to set up the blocks. And I just remind you that if you think today's been good, we'll tune on in tomorrow for the grand finale of the BDC live here at Rockingham. It's going to be an extravaganza, believe me. So as I look, here he is, look at him. What a comb over. You'd have think in 6 months he'd have done his hair once. How much is Brill cream? About 75 pence. Here he is. You'll never look as good as me. No
give me that. Thanks, Nathan. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been a long day, but as these guys pull up, I want you to give them a huge round of applause, our finalists of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, give these guys a round of applause. Put on an amazing show all day for your entertainment. And I can confirm, taking the third step on the MTEX Brakes podium. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Alistair Sutton. After a hard-fought day and some seriously good battles, taking second step on the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, raise the roof for Andrew Orr. That means your first place qualifier. Give it up for Quinn's M Sport driver, Ryan Caldwell. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Your Pro-Am 2018 championship is done and dusted. Raise the roof, ladies and gentlemen, for your finalists. From me, Eddie, Nathan Black, the judges, and everybody here at Rockingham, we'll see you tomorrow for our pro competition. Do not miss out. We will see you soon.
If anybody wants any stickers, by the way, they're never making these again. I do have some free stickers. Come on down, give me a compliment, and you can have a sticker. Hello, sir. You're too old for me, unfortunately. All right, come on over and see me. Come down tomorrow, free stickers, and thanks very much. It's been fun, but I got to run. Thank you very much.
We are Funk Motorsport, your heat management specialists. Based in the UK, we strive for perfection, developing thermal products trusted by professional race teams and drivers worldwide. Performance, protection, reliability.
I've chosen to use VP racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now.
I've been using VP racing fuel for years, basically ever since I built my first race car, and you want to get that consistent fuel, it was VP through and through.
Absolutely,
right from the beginning.
That's the brand. Yeah, I've been using VP probably since I was 10 years old racing dirt bikes. There's so many different VP racing fuels to choose from. One of the best go-tos is definitely C16.
So we use C16 in our Formula Drift cars.
I run C16 in all my cars outside of this one here. The two race cars here at the track, we run the C85.
And my supercharged Coyote-powered Mustang that's over in Europe, we use MS109.
And a Ferrari car, I actually run MS109.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.
There's a reason that half the paddock, if not more here, runs Samco hose, and that's that nobody wants to be let down by a split water hose or a split boost hose. And with Samco, there's nothing to worry about.
With using these hoses, we get the reliability, they never burst, we can just rely on them, and that's all we need. Half of the grid are running Samco hoses in their cars, and there's a reason for that. They're the best in the business.
I'm so happy to be running Samco hoses now, because in the past we have run other manufacturers' hoses and we have had the intercooler pipes collapsing, which obviously when you're under massive pressure on track, you have to be fully supportive and reliant on your hoses.
So a lot of people ask us over the years, you know, what hoses you run. Personally, I can't think of anything better than Samco. They do what they say on the tin, they work, they don't come loose, they don't fail on you, they don't pop. You can't beat Samco.
With over 25 years experience, Link Engine Management are global leaders in motorsport engine technology. Developed and manufactured in New Zealand, Link has been supplying ECUs, sensors and dashes to drivers around the world. We have a range of products to help you get the most out of your engine, and all of our ECUs come with a limited lifetime warranty. So if you want to upgrade, find your nearest dealer and get more info on our products, visit linkecu.com. Presenting the Link MXS Strada dashes powered by AIM Technologies, 2 devices that work in harmony with your existing Link ECU. Available in the standard or street version, the Strada can show a wide range of data like speed, water temperature, oil pressure and much more, thanks to its ability to read up to 4 analog inputs and 1 digital input. Our dashes come pre-configured, allowing you to get set up quickly and easily. For more information on these and all of our other products, contact your local dealer or visit linkecu.com.